be head coaches on opposite sidelines today. Backup quarterback Sam White now directs the Bengals. And linebacker Jack Pardee leads the Oilers. They continue the George Allen coaching legacy. 1 year ago, the AFC Wildcard game.
This one won it. And Anderson's kick is good. The Pittsburgh Steelers have upset the Houston Oilers.
The Oilers' Super Bowl dreams ended, but this year the Oilers are back. Houston's run-and-shoot offense has exploded on the scene. It rates as #1 in the NFL. But 2 weeks ago, the Oilers lost their run-and-shoot field general, Warren Moon, to a thumb injury, only to add another chapter to the NFL's year of the backup quarterback. Cody Carlson threw 3 scoring passes last week to shoot the Oilers into the playoffs. Today, the Oilers meet the Bengals of Cincinnati, which was named this week as the City of the Year by Sports Illustrated because of a sweep by the Reds and an outspoken football coach. Sam White hopes to continue the championship rally for the Queen City. The Bengals have their own superpower offense that features James Brooks, who rushed through the Oiler defense 2 weeks ago for a club record 201 yards, and a master play-action deceiver in quarterback Boomer Esiason. It's the Oilers and Bengals today in the jungle. Today, it's an AFC first-round playoff game as the Houston Oilers meet the Cincinnati Bengals. It is cold and raining in Cincinnati as the Oilers and the Bengals are ready to meet for a 3rd time this season. Good afternoon, everyone. Don Crickey with Bob Trumpy on a day when Mother Nature is going to play a big factor in the outcome of this game. Both coaches fear turnovers. Home field has been dominant in this series. In fact, the Oilers have been beaten 8 of their last 9 trips to Cincinnati, and yet, Trump, some key Oilers are guaranteeing victory.
Yeah, it's rather surprising that the starting defensive end, Sean Jones, guaranteed victory this week, and Bubba McDowell, the starting strong safety, guaranteed victory this week. It's a little more like the Glanville-era Houston Oilers as opposed to the Jack Pardee Houston Oilers. He's very quiet, and he does not like his players guaranteeing victory the week of the playoff game.
Oilers have the #1 offense in the NFL, but at the controls now is Cody Carlson, in for Warren Moon, who's been injured, as you know. Carlson was absolutely terrific last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And his players have great confidence in Cody Carlson.
The Bengals have won the toss, and now the Oilers pick it off. Garcia hits the ball downfield, and here comes Eric Ball from UCLA across the 15-yard line and the 25. And Ball, finding a crack, opened up by that wedge, gets it out to the 29-yard line. Boomer Esiason, who was the National Football League's most valuable player 2 seasons ago, coming off his poorest year, through 22 interceptions. But he's been very sharp of late, leading the Bengals to 2 victories the past 2 weeks. As their coach Sam White says, our playoff season really started 2 weeks ago against Houston. We've had a win the last 2 weeks just to get in. A 3-wide receiver set on 1st and 10. Watch Stanford Jennings out of the backfield. They're looking to him. There's the throw to Stanford Jennings at the 35-yard line, and he's out across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Bubba McDowell, strong safety, makes the play, but Jennings, the veteran from Furman, is ahead for a gain of 13 yards.
There's one thing the Cincinnati Bengals like to do: look at a defense, come up with a specialized formation and play. And here's the situation with Stanford Jennings coming out of the backfield, totally uncovered by anyone. It's an easy pickup. Bubba McDowell finally makes the tackle.
Straight ahead on a 1st down play, and the ball is close to the 45-yard line. Ickey Woods gets the call. Back after that injury problem, kept him out almost a season and a half. As we look at the starting lineups, a terrific offensive line, a 10th straight Pro Bowl for Anthony Munoz at left tackle, Reimers, Kazurski, Moyer, and Walter. Very strong up front. Esiason, the quarterback, James Brooks, another superior year, 1,000 yards rushing. Very good wide receivers. Mike Barber will come in as an extra one. Rodney Holman, the tight end, stays in the game. He can get deep. On second down and a long 7, here is a throw to Holman up the middle. Oilers come a-hitting on the Pro Bowler Rodney Holman. Bubba McDowell, the strong safety, and John Grimsley, the middle linebacker, made the stop.
Important play here for Houston if you're a Houston fan. Bubba McDowell there to assist on the tackle. He's had some knee problems over the last couple of weeks. Didn't play in the last Houston game. And seeing Bubba McDowell make a good hit there for a very short yardage for Rodney Holman, that's a big factor in the defense of the Houston Oilers.
There's McDowell from Miami of Florida. He was terrific from his first spring game. Standout for the Hurricanes and started as a rookie for the Oilers. Here is a give up the middle of James Brooks. Cutting into the gap and looking for room. He's ahead on 3rd and short. And appears to be Trump just short of the first down as outside backer Johnny Meads made the hit for the Oilers.
Yeah, I don't think he's got enough for the first down here. So Sam White's is faced with his first key decision. But from the hand signals he's making on the sideline, when his hand circles over his head, Don, that means same personnel. So at this point, Sam's already made the decision that they're going for it on 4th down.
White's has been saying all week he's got things in his bag of tricks. He's an amateur magician. And no one seems to know. Then he said yesterday, well, maybe I'm lying. Maybe I do have some new things. What do you think, Ron?
I think that was just newsprint. You know, if you can just give the other team something to think about. There's the hand signal again. Same personnel. So it's 4th down and inches.
The Oilers, in addition to having the #1 offense in the NFL, also have a very good defense. It rates number 11 overall. There's Jim Eddy, the all-blue outfit, the defensive coordinator. They've reduced their touchdown count allowed from 48 a year ago to 30 this year. They've improved markedly. First big moment of this game comes early, 4th and inches.
Only an audible there, Don, at the line of scrimmage by Cincinnati.
Boomer puts his head down. And it looks like he's got it as the linesmen come in to spot the ball at about the 47-yard line of Houston. Early going has been a key factor in this series. Usually the team that gets up first goes on to win.
Yeah, Don, I think when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals football team, their offense has to do things like this. On 4th and inches, go for it. If you look at their statistics, they've gone for it on 4th down quite a few times. The reason they do is that they don't have a stifling defense, so they need their offense on the field for as long in each game as they can possibly muster.
Now they keep their offense going with 4 new downs. Ball positioned at the 47-yard line. James Brooks cut down inside the midfield stripe by Bubba McDowell, who's playing with an injured knee. Read the run all the way. Esiason is a masterful play faker. You never know who's got the ball. Front 4 of the Oilers. Fuller, Pro Bowler Ray Childress, Doug Smith at about 330 pounds has been playing very well. And Sean Jones is their leading sacker with 12.5. Lamar Lathan, a rookie from the University of Houston, will come out in the nickel defense, but Lathan is a player to watch. He's really been coming on. Ishman, Johnson, McDowell, and Kennard, the 4 deep backs, all are banged up. Now Esiason with a throwing down. Oilers have a good rush. Good play fake, buys some time.
Holman.
Rodney Holman wide open at the 21. On the run inside the 20, inside the 10, and Rodney Holman goes down to the 1-yard line. They'll spat him out at the 3.
Totally missed coverage. 47-yard reception by Rodney Holman, and nobody covered him off the line of scrimmage. Again, that play action faking. I don't think Holman can believe how open he is. I mean, there's nobody within 10 yards of Rodney Holman when he catches that pass. Kennard finally shoves him out of bounds, a 47-yard pickup.
The play fake of Esiason really sold the whole thing. Looked like an up-the-middle run, and then Esiason delivers it to Rodney Holman. So now the Bengals challenge early. First down and goal inside the Houston 5-yard line. Brooks down to the 2. James Brooks, who rushed for just over 1,000 yards. Tackles on the play by middle linebacker John Grimsley and Lamar Lathan, number 57.
Now, if you look at this pass reception again by Rodney Holman, it looks like this half of the defense is playing zone. This half is playing man-to-man, and nobody takes Holman from the line of scrimmage. 5 yards down the field, he is wide open. That is a miscommunication on the Houston Oilers defense, something that Jim Eddy promised us last night would not happen, but it has.
9th play of the drive now for the Bengals. Cut down at the 2. He might have gotten a half yard. It'll bring up 3rd down and goal. Jeff Alm, number 76, a rookie from Notre Dame, came up to make the play for Houston.
Again, the hand signal by Sam White indicates personnel. The big guys are already in there. That fist in the air. And there's very few hand signals that whistle in the play. And there's Jack Pardee on the other sideline trying to encourage his team. They've thrown to Anthony Munoz, and the tackle eligible here in several instances. And let's see. He's not eligible on this formation.
Extra tight ends in the game. 3rd and goal. Here comes Ickey Woods. Down to the goal line, but no signal. He didn't get in.
Well,
4th down.
If you go for it 4th and inches at the 50, you go for it 4th and inches at the goal line.
That was close.
Bengals for the season 12 of 19 on 4th downs. 1 for 1 today, and you can see Woods, good block by Eric Ball up front, but this is excellent pursuit, and he does not get that ball over the goal line. That's an excellent call by the officials.
So we go 4th down and goal now for Cincinnati. This game scoreless. Opening drive of the Bengals over the top and into the end zone. Ickey Woods broke the plane.
And of course, it's not complete until the shuffle takes place on the sideline.
A beloved part of American folklore, the Ickey Shuffle will be coming up.
The Ickster has learned how to milk it, too. He walks to the sideline.
He'll wait till after the extra point. Jim Breach hits the point after, and the Bengals take a 7-0 lead. This is not vintage Fred Astaire. The extra zone, and here it is.
Hey, Paul Brown did that in 1988.
They're up and rocking in Cincinnati as the Bengals have taken a 7-0 lead. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy back at Cincinnati, where the Bengals have just gone 71 yards in 11 plays with number 30 Ickey Woods on the payoff in a 4th down over the top dive. And now taking a 7-0 lead over the Houston Oilers. 2 weeks to go. Bengals beat the Oilers here 40-20, but earlier in the season, Oilers beat the Bengals 48-17 at the Astrodome. A short kick by Johnson. Bernard Ford, a speedster from the University of Texas, protects the ball and gets close to the 20-yard line.
John, I want to go back to the big play that was the instrumental play in the Cincinnati Bengals score. If you got a free safety here, that's man-to-man. These 2 guys are playing man-to-man, and these 3 individuals are dropping in zone coverage. Holman goes here, no one close. In big games, mental mistakes kill a football team, and here's the first mental mistake of the game by the Houston Oilers. Somebody missed the coverage back there that let Rodney Holman wide open.
That was a 47-yard gain, and soon after the Bengals touchdown. Bengals fans really kicking up the decibel level now, making it tough for Carlson to call signals. An out pattern, not close to anybody. Curtis Duncan was running a fly, and Carlson was throwing an out. Cody Carlson is a 3rd-year player from Baylor. Terrific offensive line, too. Maggs, a standout. Munchak, a veteran Pro Bowler, and a first-team All-Pro at guard is Bruce Matthews. They've moved him to center to try to open up the running game. Dawson and Williams, the other linemen. Lorenzo White is the main runner. The run-and-shoot group includes Jeffrey, Hill, Gibbons, and Duncan. 2nd and 10 now for Houston. Swing pass. Lorenzo White on the run. He's across the 24, now to the 25-yard line. James Francis, a rookie linebacker from Baylor, made the play for the Bengals as we look at their defense. A 4-1-6. McClendon, Crumry, Buck, and David Grant has really come out across the front 4. Play with 1 backer, the rookie James Francis, and 6 DBs. Rod Jones, the man who caught Bo Jackson, Carl Carter, Lewis Phillips, Eric Thomas, David Fulcher, a three-time All-Pro, and Barney Bussey, who's been terrific of late.
He is the key in this defense. Barney Bussey, number 27. There's Francis as the nickel linebacker.
3rd and 5. Houston
Should throw.
Carlson lost the handle, and it was very nearly intercepted. Ball was tipped. Number 99, Jason Buck, almost was off and running with the ball.
Don, one of the characteristics of the run and shoot. One of the characteristics of the run and shoot is a very short drop by the quarterback. The defensive ends are not getting up the field, and that ball just slipped out of Cody Carlson's hand. Actually, that should be a fumble. They're letting it go as a 4th down, but that ball slipped out of his hands before his hand was coming forward.
I thought his hand was coming forward. Nonetheless, they're going to punt the ball now with the Oilers. One of the best, Greg Montgomery, a 45-yard-per-kick kicker, gets the ball downfield, but not very well. It does take an Oiler bounce inside the 40, and the Oilers will down it at the Bengal 39-yard line. 36-yard punt. Run and shoot is an offense that likes optimum conditions, and conditions are far less than that today in Cincinnati. It's stopped in Cincinnati. Temperature in the mid-30s. Bengals go 1st and 10 to the run. A free ball. Looked like a Bengal got it. And a penalty marker is down.
Looks like Esiason recovered that. There's a flag down.
You're well aware, Trump, when we talk with those coaches, they both were lamenting what they feared was going to be coming in the way of turnovers. A hard-hitting game like this with a wet football. Jack Pardee said usually in a game like this, a closely matched game, the team with the fewest number of turnovers wins. We've had no turnovers so far.
Holding, number 64 of the offense. Repeat 1st down.
That's the center, Bruce Kozerski. Don, that last play by Cody Carlson, if you look at this very closely, he loses this ball as his arm is going up. He doesn't have it when he gets up ready for the throwing motion. That's a fumble. They rule it an incomplete pass, but that's a fumble. He didn't keep hold of that ball. Great for Houston.
He was in the act of throwing. But at any rate, the Bengals have the ball in a 7-0 lead with 1st down and 20 coming up. Sias with a lot of time, and nice strike downfield, almost picked off. Latham, the rookie, he is a man to watch. 6'4", 250 pounds, and he runs 4.5, one of the fastest players on the field. He personally changed that game against the Steelers last Sunday night. Worley fumbled on the first play for Pittsburgh, and that soon after the Oilers were in the end zone. Latham put the hit on Worley.
Brown was the intended receiver. Latham with an excellent drop. Again, the season with all kinds of injuries, but when Al Smith got hurt, Grimsley went back to the inside. Latham has become a big player for them.
Now Esiason changes the play, checking off. They do a lot of that. He probably has as much responsibility and makes as many changes as any QB in the NFL at the line of scrimmage. Underneath, they go to Ickey Woods, but the Oiler backers are there to get him. Johnny Meads, number 91, known for his blitzing, was there to make the tackle.
Houston is trying to make a defensive change here, and they get it done. They get the nickel back on, and they get, it looked like Doug Smith got off the field. Hand signal. Now a late substitution by Cincinnati. Barber comes in, number 86, and Woods leaves. Another little innovation by Cincinnati.
Boomer now goes in the shotgun. As you see, it's 3rd down and 16 for the Bengals. Big safety Terry Kennard playing 25 yards back for the Oilers. As Esiason looks deep, dumps it off now, swings it over, and he gets Tim McGee for a 1st down. As again, the Bengals find a wide open man in that Oilers secondary. Good for a 19-yard gain on 3rd and 16.
Well, there were 2 receivers standing right next to each other. The tight end, Rodney Holman, actually backed off so that Tim McGee could make the catch. Richard Johnson is the closest man in coverage. This is zone. McGee going on the crossing route. That's obviously Cincinnati's choice. There's Holman, 82. That's a 19-yard pickup. Boomer Esiason, 5 of 6, 88 yards, and that's a 3rd down that Houston can't allow to be converted to a 1st down, and they've done it.
So the Bengals, with big passing plays, have kept the Oilers back on their heels, and here's Esiason going to the run. Brooks. This time they get him. Sean Jones, the right end, number 96, caught him. James Brooks just took apart the Oiler defense, rushing for a club record 201 yards against them 2 weeks ago here at Riverfront. What a player. James Brooks, 180 pounds, and he uses every ounce of it on every down.
The Houston Oilers claim that 200-yard rushing performance by James Brooks, you can't discount it, but they were hurt. Al Smith was playing with a broken thumb, couldn't tackle. Bubba McDowell was out. Jim Eddy told us last night, we're healthier. He won't do that against us today.
Here he's trying again now. This time he breaks it as James Brooks is ahead for a first down to the 32-yard line. Kerry Kennard, the free safety, makes the stop 14 yards downfield. Bengals drive on with another first down.
This is this power zone blocking that the Cincinnati Bengals have used for the last several years. As you watch all these guys step with the same foot, they almost look like the Radio City Rockettes. And the guards actually lose ground. And they get great blocking position on the linebackers, and Brooks hides behind those big guys for a huge pickup.
Now back to live action and back to James Brooks. On first down, he's cut down for little or no gain. Number 91, Johnny Meads, got him. Brooks is in his 10th year out of Auburn. 4 times a Pro Bowl player.
He gets up holding his hand there. Looks like something might have happened to... We got another dislocated thumb. He's got something wrong with his thumb, too. What is it with dislocated thumbs here? That's absolutely amazing.
This might be the most valuable Bengal, James Brooks.
This is on his left hand. I can't really see the injury, but the doctors are attending to him. This is a huge loss for Cincinnati.
Harold Green is in the game. Swing pass goes to Green, and he's inside the 30, down to the 25, down to the 19, to the 17-yard line.
Whoa. Green, to this point in his rookie season, little used. Early in the year, he had fumble problems. But they liken him to Dwayne Thomas of the Dallas Cowboys, Don. Big kid, great acceleration, good strength. Not much of a ball receiver out of South Carolina, but a good outlet pass there for Boomer. Ooh, totally one-sided.
Boomer having one of his best days. 6 of 7 for 101 yards throwing the ball. Looking up top again, another connection, but it's dropped by Green at the 15-yard line. Bring up second down and 10.
Actually, this was an easier catch than the last one.
Game clock shows 2:29 to play in the first quarter. Misting rain falling on and off. Field, for the most part, is not too bad. They had it covered until this morning.
Yeah, Harold Green let that ball get to his... You got to catch that with your hands anytime you possibly can, and especially when it's wet. Cincinnati's now run 19 plays to Houston's 3, Don.
Houston 1 possession, 3 and out. Had to punt the ball. 7-0 Cincinnati. Bengals looking to put the knockout punch on early. Brooks has gone to the locker room. Rookie Green runs again, and Harold Green takes it inside the 15-yard line and inside the 10.
James Brooks was taken to the locker room, Don. We've had no word from the bench what the injury is, but he had a funny-shaped thumb. I don't know what it is with thumbs here late in the season for professional football players.
Brooks averaging over 5 yards a rush this season for the Bengals. He was a 1,000-yard rusher, also caught 26 passes. So now a lot falls on the rookie Harold Green, who the Bengals think is going to be terrific. He's big, 6'2", 225 pounds. Third down. Cutback run, and Green loses his footing, and an ominous report now from the locker room. James Brooks has an open dislocation of his thumb, and that's the same injury that knocked quarterback Warren Moon out of the Oilers lineup.
You're exactly right. There's Warren Moon standing on the sideline. Got gloves on, but he has a huge cast on his hand. The word is that if the Oilers make it to the conference championship game, he might be available.
Jim Breach now on the field to try a field goal, a 28-yarder. He's having his best year, 80% field goal attempts made. He's at 17 of 21. His 12th year from Cal. He was cut a year ago. Has come back. Drives it up and through the middle. And the Bengals extend their lead with 1:10 to play in the first quarter. It is 10-0 Cincinnati. And the Bengals are ready to kick it off when we come back.
Season of open dislocations of thumbs, and James Brooks graphically illustrated there. Maybe is out of position. He is in the locker room having it treated. Now, I don't know about a running back with an open dislocation, but certainly a quarterback can't play.
Lee Johnson drives it downfield for the Bengals, and here comes Bernard Ford, the fastest Oiler. But the Bengals are in their lanes to get him, as down to make the play was Leo Barker, an outside linebacker covering kicks. So Cody Carlson, who had no luck his first time out, will try again in a moment. And 2 scores for Cincinnati. First the touchdown by Ickey Woods, then the field goal a moment ago by Jim Breach. 10-0 as the Oilers try on their second possession to move the ball. Lorenzo White cut down in the backfield. David Grant, a slashing rusher. All his coaches have been praising him, a third-year player from West Virginia. Big 285-pound defensive end. He got through to hit Lorenzo White.
Grant slices down inside. They try to run a trap. And Grant's inside before the left tackle Maggs can make contact. This Bengal defense is doing a lot of stunning against this Houston offense.
Now the heat's on Cody Carlson. Second and long, and Bengals send their backers into the gap. Aligning the blitz. They said the Steelers didn't press him. We're going to. Here comes Fultz on a blitz. He dumps it off nicely. And Drew Hill dances out of bounds at the 24.
Don, whenever you refer to the run and shoot, one of the key factors offensively is the count zone. The quarterback's first responsibility is at the line of scrimmage. He must count who is in the count zone from tackle to tackle. What the Bengals have done is taken 27, Barney Bussey, and cheat him up to the line of scrimmage. So when they call a run, and they should run against the 5, they got one more guy at the line of scrimmage than the offense can account for. He's the key in this defense.
Oilers need to hit a big play. And that will be the end of the first quarter before they can get the snap off, as James Brooks taped up and back out to a standing ovation. So one of the Bengals leaders injured but back, and we'll be back to Riverfront in a moment. Stands in, pump fakes, and a ball is dropped. Drew Hill had it on his hands but couldn't hold it. Drop balls have been a big problem for Houston this season.
And one of the things that we were going to watch very closely is the number of drop passes by the Houston receivers. This time Hill, he should have this ball. No question about it. Carlson does not overthrow that one. And the Houston Oilers, to this point in the game, 0 first downs, Don.
None at all. There's Montgomery to punt again. The Oilers are the only AFC team to have made the playoffs for the last 4 seasons. The way they're going right now, they look like they're going to be out of the playoffs in a game. Ball well hit downfield by Montgomery. Mitchell Price runs it back, trying to turn it upfield. He loses yardage cutting back, and he'll go out of bounds as markers are down all over on illegal blocks by the Bengals. But the Bengal offense comes out for a 3rd time. In 2 previous trips, it's put up 10 points to lead 10-0 early in the second quarter. Dale Hamer, the referee. Jack Pardee, who made the run and shoot the official offense of Houston, Texas. He brought it in there with the Houston Gamblers of the USFL. Then with the Houston Cougars, the University of Houston.
Personal foul, clipping on the return, first down.
Number 53, Leo Barker, on that clip. And 3 of the 7 officials saw it. James Brooks came back out of the locker room. Doctors looked at the x-ray. They took him back in the locker room. Don't know what that means, but there he is.
Short time ago, James Brooks came out, and then they sent him back in. Esiason again with a play fake. Steps up into the pocket, dumps it off. This is Ickey Woods on the run. ahead for 8.
Lathan on the tackle. They have not thrown the ball a great deal to Ickey Woods, but now with James Brooks out of the lineup, Cincinnati and their coaching staff going to have to go with game plan B. That's James Brooks' left hand looking at the thumb. That's Dr. Rob Height, the orthopedic surgeon of the ball club, and that's what he's looking at.
They need James Brooks. Maybe they can touch up the x-ray.
I've seen enough of that picture.
Now James Brooks, we're told, cannot play again. Much as he'd like to, he'll be out for the rest of this game. Woods on second and short is thrown back, but his forward progress got him close to a first down. A 330-pound tackle, Doug Smith, got him. First quarter numbers overwhelmingly in favor of the Bengals, who lead the game by a 10-0 count.
Those numbers very uncharacteristic of the run and shoot. Time of possession, the run and shoot this season has been a ball possession offense. They lead the league in third down conversions. They've gotten nothing so far today.
Eddie Brown in motion as somebody left early on the right side of the Bengals line. Looked like it might have been tight end Jim Riggs, number 87. This is Sam White's 7th year as head coach of Cincinnati. He has had his team in the playoffs only once before. That was in 1988 when they went all the way to the Super Bowl, losing to the 49ers. He's Super Bowl literate. He's been to 3 of them now. One as an assistant with the 49ers, one as an assistant with the Bengals, and as a head coach with the Bengals.
You see Riggs, bottom of the screen, trying to get a jump on William Fuller, the defensive end. It is against Cincinnati.
2 with the 49ers, 1 with the Bengals, and now Jim Riggs comes out of the game as the marker shows third down coming up for Esiason. Bengals need 6. He can run. He's playing hurt, has a groin pull. Dives ahead. Did he get there? He did.
Oh, look at the other coaches. Looks like they're going to give him enough for the first down.
Clock is stopped. 12-13. Now they start it up again. It's running as Esiason diving for the first down, and the spot is apparently going to be enough for it.
Lamar Lathan, again, 57 out there to assist on the tackle. I think once the replay reviews this, Hood is out. Going to be short of the first down marker, but as they have it positioned now, he's got enough for the first down. And what happened there is the official got chased out of bounds by all the pursuit and the running back. See, 81, the official, watch his left foot on the line. But see, the official gets chased out of bounds there. Yeah, they're not going to have a first down on this.
The down marker shows 1, though. Right now it's being reviewed with 12:08 to play in the first half, and the Cincinnati Bengals leading the Oilers 10-0. Bengals went on 2 fourth down plays in that opening drive, and finally Ickey Woods took it in.
Yeah, Don, leading, watch that left foot. There he's out of bounds. Leading 10-0. Sam White's your mindset changes. Now you play a game of field position against Houston. You take no chances on the fourth down. You get the ball on a punt as far down the field as you can and make Houston's offense look at the long field. That's the chess game that coaches play week in and week out. 10 points on the road against Houston, it's like 20. With Cody Carlson at quarterback, it may be more like 25.
They haven't been even close to running any successful offense, the Oilers. Once again, we look at Boomer dive on a third down play. He needed 6, extends his arm trying to get to the mark.
Your bartender, if you're watching in a bar anywhere, can make this call. He doesn't need to know the rules. He knows it's short of the first down marker.
Yesterday in that Eagle game, we saw a critical reversal on an instant replay. Replay review.
The new rule in 90 is from the moment the review gets it, they got 2 minutes to make the decision. But then once they make the decision, they have additional time to go back to the proper yard marker. That's the delay, trying to identify the proper yard marker.
I think they're going to reverse it.
Well, if they don't,
Well,
they're
going to be sure.
If they don't, they should unplug all that equipment, take the afternoon off. Do I make myself clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell us how you really feel.
We have a reversal. The runner stepped out of bounds. The ball will be placed on the 32-yard line. 32.
So the Bengals will punt for the first time. It was ruled that on the review that Boomer was out of bounds before he got to the mark.
The only problem there is the line judge has to be chased out of bounds. He didn't want to give up his kneecap on this particular play, so you can understand the confusion there, and it was well handled by the officiating crew and the review crew.
Lee Johnson having a good year punting the ball. Gerald McNeil is back now for the Oilers. A well-hit ball. It drives McNeil back to his 15. Return right. He's across the 30. And one of the smallest players in the NFL is swept under by about 1,500 pounds of coverers, led by Ed Brady and Kevin Walker. A 52-yard punt, a 15-yard return by McNeil, and the Oilers will try an offense again when we come back. Next weekend, join NBC Sports for the AFC Divisional Playoffs. Saturday will be in Buffalo for the AFC Eastern champion Buffalo Bills. The team with the conference's best record will host a playoff game. On Sunday, it's to the Coliseum in Los Angeles, where the Raiders will host another one. Right now, the Oilers, looking for offense, have Cody Carlson on the drop. Downfield throw, and right to the wrong guy. David Fulcher, an all-pro strong safety. Hit back inside the 40. Inside the 30. On the run is David Fulcher, and they finally get him at the 15.
Nothing but discouragement here. Here's Fulcher. The receiver comes down. Carlson doesn't come close to making the completion, and there was very little pressure on him, Don. David Fulcher just sitting there waiting for the interception. And to this point, Houston without a first down. Carlson 2 of 5 with an interception. And the problem is, with 11:25 to go in the second quarter, there is no other offense to go to. That's the problem with the run and shoot. They're stuck with it for the day.
Yeah, it's an offense with 8 wide receivers on the roster and no tight ends. Now the Bengals, looking to put a knockout punch on, have it 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line of Houston. Harold Green cuts in, and he's down inside the 10-yard line.
Now, the net result of the lack of run-and-shoot offense by Houston is that already the Houston defense showing great signs of fatigue. Their defensive line now playing a little bit higher, Don, and the offense of the Bengals able to make those blocks. The greatest concern by Jack Pardee and also Jim Eddy, the defensive coordinator. You can't keep your defense on the field this long in one half.
John Grimsley and Terry Kennard combined on that tackle, but it was 6 yards downfield. 2nd down and 4. Green, he's down to the 5-yard line. Offensive front of the Cincinnati Bengals just bust open the Oilers.
John Grimsley there makes the tackle, and this is the area of the field where the Houston Oilers come with a blitz, and you can see the blitz. And you got Leander Knight, 21, the strong safety blitzing. This is where Houston really takes its chances. Their best bet now, try for a turnover on every defensive snap.
1st down and goal for Cincinnati. 9:48 to play in the first half, and the clock running. And that to Green, who is caught and thrown down at the 5, and the marker's also down. Jack Pardee, the head coach of the Oilers, was 15 years a linebacker in the NFL with the Rams and the Redskins. Had a face mask call against the defense.
Face mask on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
See if we can pick up who got the hand. That's Ray Childress, the defensive left tackle. He's up there grabbing anything he can, and he's got to be whipped already.
So the ball is now positioned about 2.5 yards from the Houston goal line. Ickey Woods in the backfield along with Green. 3 tight end set. This is Ickey Woods. Fake to him and the throw to Green. Touchdown Cincinnati. 2 weeks ago, when the Oilers came here, they were beaten 40-20. A year prior to that, on their annual visit to Cincinnati, they lost 61-7. And it's not good now for Houston as they trail 16-0 with the extra point by Breach, up and good again. And the Bengals move out to a 17-0 lead. So Cincinnati, the team that fought to get in the playoffs, is rolling right now.
No one can guarantee.
There are over 4 million miles of roads in America. And with Alamo, all the miles are free.
With Bob Trumpy, this is Don Crickey back at Cincinnati where the Bengals kick off yet again. Downfield is Alan Pinkett taking the ball back for the Oilers. Finds a gap and breaks it across the 30 and keeps it going all the way out close to the 40-yard line. But so far, the Oilers have had virtually no offense. 7 yards offense.
Now let's go back to the touchdown. The rookie linebacker Lamar Lathan is here. You can see the defense is very late and somewhat confused as to where the strength of the formation is. The running back releases out in the flat. There's no one there to cover it. Again, a miscommunication on the defense in a playoff game. There's Sam White's reaction.
Crowd not making it any easier on Carlson. Lorenzo White takes it ahead to the 45-yard line. Got close to 5 yards on the carry. Barney Bussey was up to make the stop.
Look at this. Goodness, that's this season for the Houston Oilers. Their year has been exactly opposite of that. The last time Cincinnati played Houston in the Amsterdam, Houston scored on 8 straight drives.
Sunday night against the Steelers, the Oilers scored on 5 straight drives. Right now they're out of this game, down 17-0 with 8:28 to play in the first half. White, marker down. And so is Lorenzo White for a 4-yard loss. James Francis, who played 1 year with Cody Carlson at Baylor, is up to make the stop. Lead the tackler.
Now we talked about the count zone, the legal procedure against Houston. Things are coming apart at the seams here for the Oilers. But we talked earlier about the count zone. Look what happens. Here's Barney Bussey cheating to the line of scrimmage. David Fulcher cheating to the line of scrimmage. And you've got 5 guys to block 7, and these 2 guys are there to make the tackle, and that's what happens when they try to run the ball to the outside. There are just too many guys there. You see, Bussey takes on 1 guy. Fulcher's right there to make an assist on the tackle. Nothing is working.
Pressure now on Cody Carlson. He has to make a play here. 3rd down and 7. Tip ball. David Grant, 98. .59 to go in the second quarter. Houston has yet to get a first down. David Grant
Just a little pressure, and then hands up in the air. They run the stunt. T98 at the bottom, swings around, puts his hand up. Last week against Pittsburgh, Carlson had a lot of balls tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Montgomery had only 34 punts in 16 regular season games. He's had 3 already today. This one a low kick downfield. Mitchell Price moves up on it. It does take an Oiler roll. And it'll be down to the 13-yard line of Cincinnati. Now with 7:48 to play after the 44-yard punt by Montgomery, the Bengals and that high-power offense are coming back out. The Bengal possession's a very effective offense. Cincinnati keeping the pressure on with some of the game's best skill position players. And Boomer Esiason, coming off his poorest regular season from a numbers standpoint, having a terrific day, hitting people all over the field. Bengals with a 17-0 lead now go 1st and 10 from inside their 13. Quick out. That's Eddie Brown. Turns it up across the 20, close to a first down. Chris Dishman knocked him down. Brown had another big year, 9 touchdown passes.
Now you can see the change here in the Bengals offense. They're going with 3 tight ends. They got Riggs, Caddis, and Holman, all 3 in the ball game. 1 running back, Ickey Woods, and Eddie Brown, the wide receiver. And that's their hammer at the Houston defense mindset right now. Take the high percentage completion and run the ball a lot.
Howard set now with a 2nd down and 1 coming up. Wood. 3 yards and a first down as middle linebacker John Grimsley made the stop for the Oilers. Game clock down to 6:52 to play in the first half.
Okay, again, this is power zone blocking. Here's the 3 tight ends, 2 there, 1 there. And you see everybody just take them outside. Woods cuts back. It's a good belly series, and it's a play the Cincinnati Bengals have featured for several years here under Sam White. Just look for that little crease in the defense and let the linebacker make the tackle 5 yards down the field. It's a first down pickup. Oh.
Housekeeping here, a little equipment repair on Bernard Ford as Esiason looks at a 1st and 10. Again, the play fake and that overhand delivery, and it's good for a completion to the 29-yard line. He got 4, throwing it out to Tim McGee.
Key play when you're up 17-0 in the playoff game is that first down play. It's just a hitch pass, and you want the completion because the value is not what you get or don't get there. It brings up 2nd and 5. So now the offense is in excellent shape.
Oilers secondary, Trump seems confused.
And they're playing off. Jim Eddy, the defensive coordinator.
Esiason this time goes to the run. It's Harold Green, a high stepper. He's ahead for a first down.
Grimsley again on the tackle. Basically the same play. Power zone run blocking, and watch Green bounce it to the outside. Means misses the tackle there, 91. Another first down.
Quick snap. There was extra players on the field for the Oilers. As they try to dump it off, the Bengals go with that quick snap that's caused so much confusion in the NFL, and markers are down. There's the man who designs all that, your former teammate. He never stops, does he? Looking for edges?
He's always looking for edges.
Oilers had 3 guys going as fast as they could to get off the field.
12 in on the field, on the defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
There might have been 14 on the field.
At least 12 were on the field at that particular moment, but we'll just leave it at 12. The Oilers were trying to get an extra linebacker on the field. Oh, my goodness.
Full day's work for the Oiler defense as the Bengals now have an interesting play call. First down and 5. Passing another great fake. Gets cut, stands in, delivers a fastball, and it's separated from the receiver, Tim McGee, as he really got dinged. Bubba McDowell, number 25, and Chris Dishman, 28, combining on a double pop.
Boomer was late throwing that ball, Don, because Tim McGee was wide open at the outset. McGee is at the top of the screen, and Boomer pays so much attention to the play fake that he's late getting the ball to McGee. There was no one on McGee coming across the line of scrimmage. He takes a shot. Watch the top of the picture. See how open he is? Houston's missing coverage all over the place.
Now to live action, Harold Green weaves his way through the Oiler defense, crosses midfield, and gets down to the 46-yard line. First down, Bengals.
Coming into this game, Harold Green was the Bengals' second leading rusher behind James Brooks with 83 carries, but the bulk of those carries came in the first 6 weeks of the season. Already with James Brooks hurt now, 6 carries, 43 yards, and 2 catches.
The second for a touchdown. Wood scored the first touchdown as Dishman is now looking at a finger.
Contact lens.
Contact lens. 4:39 to play in the first half. 17-0 Cincinnati. Bengals took the opening kickoff, drove 71 yards downfield in 11 plays, and the Oilers haven't been in the game since.
Look at the numbers there. 13 first downs. This Houston team led the NFL in first downs for an offense and gotten 0 today.
Bengals working masterfully behind the left arm of Esiason. Pump fake, and there's the home run ball. The defense is beaten. McNally hanging ball gives it time to recover. Tim McGee, the intended receiver, and Richard Johnson, who has played very well this season, but he's playing very hurt, has a very bad shoulder. 8 interceptions this year for Richard Johnson.
Jim Eddy told us last night in our conversation that Richard Johnson has not worked out at all this week and wasn't sure how long he could go, but he's going to give it a shot. I admire his intestinal fortitude there. He's putting up with a lot of pain. He's got McGee, 85 in coverage.
He's playing with one arm trump. His left arm is really hurting.
But he's out there. Yeah, he's holding it at his side right now. He can't even get it up off his hip.
They're on 2nd and 10, and down to the 40-yard line is Harold Green. He was the second-round draft choice of the Bengals out of South Carolina. A lot of good runners on the Cincinnati team, although the best is hurt right now. James Brooks went out earlier with a thumb injury. Eric Ball, a good runner. Ickey Woods, Stanford Jennings, a veteran.
And, you know, those guys get all the press. But, man, those guys up front for the last several years have been absolutely sensational. Total yards.
TKO so far. The Bengals dominating every phase of the game. On 3rd and 3, the Bengals keep it low on the ground, and Harold Green piles ahead. He'll be close to a first down. Childress and Meads were on the stop.
Again, if you tuned in late, you're wondering why Harold Green is carrying the ball so much for the Cincinnati Bengals. Dan is saying that's a first down. In the first quarter, there is an open dislocation, certainly a popular phrase in the last couple of weeks of the NFL season here, of his left thumb. Taken to the hospital, will not return for the day. Net result, Harold Green has come up big. He's got close to 7-8 carries so far. 9 carries, 48 yards for the Bengals. Total domination by Cincinnati. Shocking.
Now the Bengals, Trump, want a timeout. Boomer coming over and knowing how this Bengal offense works, he'll come back out looking to hit him with another haymaker. Going for the zone. Long out in confidence. He's not cocky, but he's very sure of his ability. He's got a lot of leadership. 3 straight years, the Baylor Bears elected him one of their co-captains. A native son of the Lone Star State. He's out of San Antonio. Played on a great high school team there at Churchill High. Boomer Esiason is the man today, though, as he gives off to Green on first down, and the Oilers are there to make the play. Ray Childress, an all-pro tackle, made the stop. Big guy out of Texas A&M, having maybe his best year. He's headed back to the Pro Bowl.
He's made a heck of a sacrifice, too. Last year as a defensive end, he makes the Pro Bowl. 1990, Jim Eddy asked him to move into defensive tackle. You can see what he's done. He doesn't like it in there because of all the pounding. There's Jim Eddy, the defensive coordinator.
This man is heavy on enthusiasm.
Jim Eddie?
He lights up a room, Jim Eddie. You're ready to stuff that you were going to tape up?
No.
On the kickoff team after Coach Eddie got done. Checking down, Esiason gets a lot of time and delivers to his tight end, Eric Pettis. He's inside the 30 and down to the 27-yard line. Close to yet another Bengal first down. Lamar Lathan made the stop, but well downfield. Yes, we're down to 2 minutes to play in the first half. Command of this one right after the opening kickoff, as they now lead at 17-0. Troubled times for the Houston Oilers, Trump. Is there any salvation?
Frankly, no, unless Cincinnati turns the ball over on 5 or 6 successive plays and they block a punt. Houston blocks a punt. All season long in 1990, people were saying the things wrong with the run and shoot are that you can't maintain possession and all kinds of stuff. But here is a clear problem with the run and shoot. It's the only offense they got for the rest of the day, Don. They got to stay with it.
It's rarely been on the field as the Bengals go right up the middle, and a penalty marker comes in. Ickey Woods, who Coach Sam White said rehabbed that injured knee after surgery with as much diligence as any player he'd ever seen to come back. The Ickster had that great rookie season the year that the Bengals went to the Super Bowl. Rushed for over 1,000 yards, almost 1,100.
73 of the offense. Repeat third down.
Ken Moyer, the right guard, called for illegal procedures.
He's got the hold. He's on Ray Childress. He just pulls him down. Umpire picks that one up. That's rather clear.
Holding call, and now it brings up third down and just over 10. As Esiason takes a 7-yard drop. He's got the deep arm with a major league prospect as a pitcher, and he throws the ball.
Fumble.
Caught and lost. A moral victory of sorts there would be if the Oilers come up with a turnover. Being clocked down to 1:42 to play in the first half.
I haven't seen a signal from anybody whose ball it is yet. They're tapping on a helmet. They're saying Cincinnati maintains possession. Eddie Brown was the guy on the bottom of the pile. And was there a late flag that came in there?
And a couple guys grabbing at face mask.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 28 of the defense. 15 yards. First down.
Chris Dishman, he's done it before.
When Dishman gets up, he hits the official. Now, how dumb is that? That's 30 seconds after the play's been decided. That gives the Bengals a first down. Drive stays alive. I'm surprised he's still on the field. I thought he'd stop that. Well, that is courtesy of Chris Dishman and his bad temper.
And I'll tell you, to meet Chris Dishman off the field, he's a complete antithesis. He's absolutely a delightful guy, works with kids. On the field, he snaps into another personality.
Well, you see the ball on the ground by Eddie Brown, but thanks to Chris Dishman, this drive stays alive.
Bengals go with first down now at the 20. Harold Green brings it up. And down to the 11-yard line. Gary Kennard, the last line of defense, the free safety, got him. Green's got great mobility, dips in, dips out, and then has that great burst.
This Houston Oilers defense is totally expended with 1:20 to go in the first half. They are shot, done, finished. Frustration. Here's the reverse angle. You can see Houston Oilers players on the ground. Look at them, 3, 4 guys on the ground.
Eric Ball, blockers in front. Good open field tackle by Bubba McDowell. Strong safety number 25 came up.
We got an injury to Cincinnati. It looks like Bruce Reimers, the offensive left guard, is hurt. We got
an Oiler down.
There's an Oiler down. Doug Smith is hurt.
Smith has had a back problem.
This is an excellent play by Bubba McDowell. Helmet right through that thigh.
Big Doug looks like he's grabbing at a hamstring. Set of big wheels on Big Doug. He's about 330.
I imagine there's a certain amount of fatigue involved in that injury, too. Doug Smith has not been able to practice an awful lot because of that bad back, but as he's chasing Eric Ball, something just kind of snaps in the back of his leg, and that is the hamstring area.
Headlines today on NFL Live. Will McDonough reporting that reliable sources say that Syracuse coach Dick McPherson will be named the new head coach of New England Patriots. Of course, Dick McPherson has NFL experience, was a longtime assistant with the Cleveland Browns before going to Syracuse, where he really turned that program around. Bill Walsh picking the Bengals to win 27-17. They've already got 17 of the 27. Randall Cunningham says he expects Buddy Ryan to return as coach next year. People criticize Ryan for not winning a playoff game. He said, hey, they didn't win. They weren't even in the playoffs for 10 years before I got here.
Buddy will fire back, won't he?
Take a shot.
There's Bruce Reimers going off on the cart. Looks like he had sprained his ankle. Another X-ray.
While the injured players are being attended to, a reminder to kick off your night on NBC with super bloopers and new practical jokes. Doesn't look like he'll be back today after apparently injuring a hamstring trying to run down the ball carrier.
That means that Ezra Johnson, number 90, Glenn Montgomery, number 94, are going to have to share the duty at the defensive tackle spot. This drive by Cincinnati, to this point, 14 plays, 76 yards. The most important thing, it's consumed 6 minutes and 55 seconds off the clock.
The way the playoff picture breaks down, if the Bengals win today and they're winning 17-0 with more points perhaps in the imminent, if the Bengals go on to win, they'll meet the Raiders at Los Angeles next Sunday, and that would mean Miami would go back to Buffalo to play the Bills on Saturday. A 12:30 kickoff in NFL Live would begin at 12 noon next Saturday.
We may be a little premature, but it certainly looks like Cincinnati will go to Los Angeles to play the Raiders, and that'll be the Bengals' 5th West Coast game. That's Doug Smith being attended to. Bruce Reimers, number 75, is also injured. He looks like he trips over his own man, Eric Caddis, 84, and sprains his ankle. We got them falling like flies out here.
He played in a lot of games in this stadium in weather like this. Hurts even more, doesn't it, when it's cold like this?
Yeah, of course, it's always colder when you're down 17-0. I mean, it's unbearable cold when you're losing like this.
Ezra Johnson in for Doug Smith. As the Bengals break the huddle, working at their leisure. Everything seems to work when they put the ball in play. 53 seconds to go in the half. Tyson with a long count on 3rd and 3. Play fake to Woods. Lots of time. Eddie Brown can't hold on. Almost intercepted by Lamar Latham, 57.
That was a very late developing play. Eddie Brown was the guy coming in motion, came back across the formation. There's Dishman in coverage. And they're trying to hide Eddie Brown here. He runs the underneath pattern. Inside, ball thrown behind him. Can't really make the reception. Grimsley there close, Latham there close. No catch.
He won't drop many.
Field goal.
Eddie Brown, a year ago, he was the #1 receiver in the AFC with almost 1,300 yards. Now Breach out to try a field goal with Johnson holding. And Jim Breach hits it straight on again. And the Bengals extend their lead to 20-0 with 43 seconds to play in the first half. So it looks like the Bengals are heading to L.A. The whole thing rests on the quarterback and the Oilers' offense to run and shoot. And so far, there's been no offense.
You know, last night he told us that he got his first free meal from his performance last week against Pittsburgh. 3 touchdowns, 22 of 29. He said, my mistake was I went to a fast food restaurant, so the bill was only $2.95. They may want that $2.95 back this week. That's the way fans are.
He said the kid behind the counter, he stops there every day. As Warren Moon walks the sidelines in the middle of the play. Also, the kid wouldn't take his money. It's the first free meal he ever got. Carlson's an interesting guy. He said, I'm nothing special. I've got a good arm. I can throw a football, big deal. But he won't quit. I mean, he'll keep coming back at you. This guy really lit up the Steelers, and they came into that game with the #1 pass defense, had not given up a touchdown pass in almost 4 games. Before last Sunday night's game. Alan Pinkett and Bernard Ford are back deep now as the Bengals are going for the whole thing. An onside try. Up back, picks it up, a blocker, and gets it to the 45. And Carlson will have 38 seconds to work with.
Eric Norgard was the receiver there on the pooch kick.
It started early. The Bengals on their opening drive, 71 yards on the 11th play. Ickey Woods went over the top from a yard out. 7-0 Cincinnati. Then Jim Breach on the next possession hit a 28-yard field goal. 10-0 Bengals. A great play fake by Esiason and the throw to Green. 17-0, and now Breach with another field goal. And that's where it stands, 20-0 Cincinnati. Carlson, timing throw. Makes a connection with Haywood Jeffries, close to a first down, but he didn't get out of bounds. Clock continues to run.
Timeout, Houston. That's Jeffries' first catch of the day. He's a 1,000-yard receiver for Houston, and they didn't pick up the first down. They've yet to pick up a first down in this first half.
Next weekend, join NBC Sports for the AFC Divisional Playoff. Saturday, it's Buffalo, where the AFC Eastern champion Bills will be the host of a divisional playoff game, and they will meet the Miami Dolphins if this score continues to hold up and Cincinnati wins. The day starts with NFL Live with Bob Costas, Will McDonough, and O.J. Simpson at 12 noon Eastern time. Then on Sunday, the other berth for the AFC Championship will be decided when the silver and black of the L.A. Raiders take to the Coliseum turf to play the Cincinnati Bengals if Cincinnati wins today. If Houston should come back and win this game, Houston would go to Buffalo and Miami would go to Los Angeles.
If Houston comes back and wins this game, let's put it in the time capsule.
The Fab Four, the team four, those 4 receivers were in the top 7 in the AFC. 2 of them were tied for the AFC receiving lead.
And for the season,
Jeffries and Hill. Jeffries was talking about the strong arm Carlson has. He said if you don't catch it with your hands, if he drills it at you, you're going to catch it with your face mask.
Don, they just measured that last reception by Jeffries. Houston's first down of the ball game. 28 seconds to go in the first half.
They knew it wouldn't be easy, and it's been worse than that. Long ball, Carlson into coverage. It's picked off by Barney Buffy, but they really got it out of bounds. Carlson threw one right to Fulcher earlier for a Bengal interception.
They'll always take a look at that left foot. Comes down out of bounds. Excellent call by the sideline official. He was right on the spot. Watch his left foot. Now, you can't really see it. It's out of the picture, but his left foot clearly out of bounds. No interception. Here it is. Now they have both feet down. Almost gets it in, but
in completing 22 of 29 against the Steelers his last time out, Carlson threw only 1 deep ball. But there's been nothing short open today. He was hitting all the underneath stuff against Pittsburgh.
Now, Cincinnati has not given them the underneath stuff. Again, the look. The desperation you can see in this offense. Just heaving it up there. That was intended for Tony Jones.
Timeout remaining. 1.
Oilers with 1 timeout remaining. Carlson up under his center, Bruce Matthews. Long throw, and not even close. Fulcher almost had a second. And a marker's down. Marker down at the line of scrimmage, could be a hold.
Holding. Number 66 to the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Doug Dawson moved in to guard to make the running game a little better last week against Pittsburgh. They had 195, but they've gotten nothing today. This is so disappointing for the Houston Oilers. Although the fans in Houston had the same concern about their team that the people in Cincinnati did. What team shows up today? It's the good one or the bad one?
Oilers have beaten the Bengals 6 of the last 9 meetings, but they've lost 8 of the last 9 here in Cincinnati. A catch is made downfield by Curtis Duncan. And the Oilers quickly signal for and are allotted their last timeout. 5 seconds left, but they're out of field goal range for Garcia.
The catch, you said almost with a certain amount of surprise in your voice. A catch. I agree. Flushed out of the pocket is Carlson. David Grant with the initial pressure. On the run, he does a good job of throwing. Looks like the defender, he was down on the ground, Carl Carter. That's the longest gain of the day for the Houston Oilers.
Kevin Gilbride, the offensive coordinator with the hood on, talking things over with Cody Carlson. As we mentioned at the outset, the run and shoot is a good weather offense, and it's anything but good weather today, although the rain has stopped now.
They were just taken out of their game so early, though. So early, the Bengals defense just didn't give them a thing. That opening drive, Cincinnati going down and scoring. And it just sets the tone for the entire football game. They could go on 4th down twice. The Bengals do and make it. Once for the touchdown.
Now all Cody can do is drop back about 12 and clang it as far as he can. 5 seconds left in the first half. He lets it go. He's got a man open down to the 12-yard line, but there's a marker down. He hit Alan Pinkett out of the backfield. But a penalty marker as time has run out on the clock.
If it's on the offense, no play will take place into the half.
Of course, the half or the game cannot end on a defensive penalty.
Holding. Number 79 of the offense.
Holding against the Oilers. So the play is negated. And that is the deal for the first 2 quarters of play, as Coach White's really had him ready. His team going to the locker room with a 20-0 lead. Right now, we're going to switch to New York, to NFL Live, and Bob Costas. Bob?
All right, Don Criqui, thanks a lot. Coming up at halftime here in New York, Bill Walsh on the first half in Cincinnati. Will McDonough updates the story of the Patriots' new head coach.
20-0. The fast break offense of the Houston Oilers has come to a screeching halt, Trump. They've fallen and they can't get up.
Yeah, they got in the way of themselves, but they got one break. They couldn't take advantage of it when James Brooks dislocated his thumb. You heard O.J. Simpson say on the sideline that he went to the hospital for surgery. This is the play where it happened. It's an open dislocation. Same injury that Warren Moon has. He gets up. They brought him out from the sideline, and they looked at the X-ray. And it looked like he wanted to come back into the ball game, but there is the X-ray. Rob Height Sr. looking at that thumb, and if he can play next week, they can deaden the thumb. Watch the thumb when it comes up here. You'll be able to see it bent back. He's not hitchhiking to the sideline there. That's an open dislocation of the thumb.
It's interesting what O.J. said, though. They think he might be able to play next week against the Raiders if they do indeed win and go out to L.A.
And there's no way to tell about this kid. He's one of the toughest individuals you'll ever meet in your life.
Well, he goes to Houston before the training camp opens to work out in the heat and humidity with a track coach. A very inspirational player is James Brooks. The Bengals have to have him. Cody Carlson has to have some completions. This has been awful so far for old Cody, while Boomer has been terrific.
Things is, you can see the Fab Four have done absolutely nothing, and the defense has been on the field for Houston all first half.
Oilers will get the ball to start the second half. A long kickoff by Lee Johnson that Pinkett lets go out of the end zone. The halftime stats trump an ugly story for the Oilers.
That's a well-used word. Ugly stats. Time of possession, 36 total yards, of which 25 Houston got in the last minute of the first half. 1 first down came on 1 completion at the end of the first half. 1 yard rushing. They had 195 last week.
We got a lot of draws up the middle from Lorenzo White. Chuck Stubley, the defensive line coach of the Bengals, said yesterday they couldn't run us last time and they won't run us tomorrow, and they haven't. Last time the Oilers were in here 2 weeks ago, 22 yards rushing on 11 carries. Lorenzo White, nothing. Down at the 20. Crumry and David Grant.
Well, people all season long have been trying to figure out what to do against this run-and-shoot offense, and maybe the Bengals have found something. Here's Barney Bussey coming to the line of scrimmage. The defense gives the offense the 5 in the count zone look, and then Bussey cheats up there to assist on the tackle. It worked 2 weeks ago. It's worked today. If he doesn't make the tackle, then he consumes the blocker.
Crumry jumping in and out, taking different alignments over the center. Downfield throw. It is taken down, then lost by Haywood Jeffries. One thing we've seen is Carlson can get it downfield. So far, not any effectiveness as the pass catch, but he's got a very strong arm.
I do think that Kevin Gilbride's observation last night, that Cody Carlson takes a third of the snaps in practice with or without Warren Moon. But the problem is you can't duplicate the game speed in practice. And Carlson looks very quick in his delivery. And that's really upset the timing of the run and shoot today.
3rd and 10. In a hole again is Carlson and the Oiler offense. Knocked down. David Grant gets another. He does deliver a low throw. The Steelers knocked down 3 or 4 of his passes last week.
Which is surprising because Carlson is 6'4". But Warren Moon has that straight overhand delivery. Carlson, you'll notice, is about 3/4. And the stunt again up front. Grant comes around, and he just, that's twice. He just put his hand up there and knocked the ball out. Pure luck. But it just totally stifled this Houston Oilers run and shoot offense today.
Greg Montgomery, a long-distance punter from Michigan State, hits the ball very well. Big charge into it. Mitchell Price is back to his 33. Breaks it. Races on. Montgomery has a shot, and he gets him.
This is a 47-yard punt by Montgomery. That's the good news. The bad news is it's a 36-yard return, a net 9. 25 McDowell and the punter able to get him down.
So while things went good in the first half, they get even better to start the 3rd quarter as the Bengals start a drive inside the Oilers' 35-yard line. Dickie Woods doesn't get much. Ray Childress and John Grimsley on the stop.
Don, I noticed in the first half that Bruce Reimers went out with an ankle injury. He's been replaced at left guard by Paul Giton. The Bengals have a couple of injuries they have to concern themselves with. Reimer's an excellent offensive guard. You see, actually Moyers is going to left guard, and Giton, 68, is at right guard. There's Giton there. Go through his hands. Dyson was right where it had to be with the throw. Splitting 2 defenders, and Holman, normally sure-handed, couldn't hold it. Yeah, he had 2 guys around him. I mean, it was crowded down there. There's McDowell, 25. Grimsley, 59 on the inside. And Kennard, 27. And Boomer throws it very well, and it just slips through Rodney Holman's hand. Man, I can't throw it much better than that.
Now it is 3rd down for Cincinnati. Early in the 3rd quarter with the Bengals in the lead, 20-0. 3rd and 8. inside the 15 and the 10. He heads down close and slides to a halt at the 3.
27-yard pickup. You see everybody rotate out of there. He gets by Grimsley, 59. Well, this has been awful easy for Cincinnati against a very good Houston Oilers defense, but it's just played too much on this particular day.
And out there all day have the Oilers defenders. First and goal. Eric Ball weaves, breaks the tackle, gets to the 3. He got 2. Coach White looks over the probabilities. Safeties made the tackle there. Bubba McDowell and Terry Kennard for Houston.
You know, he was telling us yesterday when we were down at Spinney Field, he said, I am so confident in our ability to beat Houston. He said, it scares me. I'm afraid I'm overconfident.
Well, what he really liked, as you know, Trump, knowing him as well as you did, was the play of his defense. The Oilers really have had problems moving the ball at all today. Cincinnati's defense has really come up in the last half of the season. Eric Ball down close. He's in.
This is getting ugly.
Maybe the Bengals, Trump, would like to take some of these points with them to L.A. next week.
Maybe uglier is a better word.
Jim Breach getting it all right again today, and the Bengals have opened up a 27-0 knockout of the Oilers. Faithful having a big time today as their team has opened up a 27-0 lead. Here's the kickoff downfield to Alan Pinkett. Does well to get to the 11 after dropping it. Arnie Bussey comes down to make the play.
Well, if we go back to the touchdown, watch the trap. Moyer runs on William Fuller. The running back has almost a straight line to the end zone. The defense is now so worn out. Watch how high they are at the line of scrimmage. See, they're just up there. They're just easy pickings for the Bengals offensive linemen. Coming right at you. Watch again. Fuller way high. Ball able to go inside. Very little contact until he gets in the end zone. He says, yeah.
Yes, indeed. 11:24 to go, third quarter.
It was intended for Lorenzo White.
It was almost hit the center, Bruce Matthews, in the back. Greatest postseason comeback in NFL history back in '57. Lions and the 49ers. Niners had a 27-7 lead. With Paul Brown, the general manager of the Cincinnati Bengals. Fumble. Bengals, 10-yard line. Gets the ball.
Well, that victory against Pittsburgh last Sunday night's got to feel like a month ago to the Houston Oilers. They were riding high last week in a game they had to win. This guy did it with a 22 for 29 performance. That ball goes right between his hands. First pass of the day slipped out of his hands. That one shoots right between his hands.
The backup quarterback now that Warren Moon is injured, the backup to Carlson is a rookie from Auburn, Reggie Slack. Boomer rolling out, might take it himself, looks for a block and gets it, and he heads in. Everything the Bengals have thrown up is stuck. And another point does. 33-0 with more to come. 34-0.
This is the option play by Boomer Esiason. Good play action fake. No coverage. He needs one block. Points it out. Gets it. It's Eric Caddis, and we'll show you how good it is as he throws it up in the stands. That'll cost him $50. The Boomer can afford it. And we'll show you the block by Eric Caddis after the kick here by Cincinnati.
Lee Johnson kicks off again, and very well, powering it downfield into the end zone and out of it. Another touchdown.
And you saw the rollout, the keeper play by Boomer Esiason coming right at you. Here's Caddis. There's the big block right there. Watch him. You know where the ball goes, but again, everything is working for Cincinnati all day long, and the quarterback is even calling for blocks. Give me a block. Okay. I'll just waltz into the end zone. Cincinnati has now scored on 6 of its 7 offensive possessions in this game.
The pictures tell a sad story on the Oilers sideline. They try again. 1st and 10. The connection is made as the ball is completed to Leonard Harris. He'll be out of bounds at the 26-yard line.
At halftime, I happened to run into Bum Phillips, former head coach of the Houston Oilers, New Orleans Saints. He's now a radio broadcaster for Houston, and I said, Bum, when the run and shoot ain't run and shooting, what do you do? He says, you run and shoot.
That's all there is, huh?
That's it. End of story. And to this point in the season, I think a lot of people fell in love with his offense. Now all of a sudden, there might be some re-examination of the relative worth of the run and shoot next year.
Well, he graded out number 1 in the NFL coming into this game. He got the Oilers in the playoffs. Alan Pinkett weaves his way and gets close to a 1st down. You're going with a little more quickness in the backfield. Pinkett's 185 pounds. He is Notre Dame's all-time leading rusher.
And the matchup, one of the matchups we wanted to feature when this was still a game was the center Matthews and Crumry, both Pro Bowlers. Crumry, of course, a former Pro Bowler. And they put Matthews at center because they thought his run blocking was a little better than Jay Pennison, but Crumry there to assist on the tackle.
Step by step, row by row, you've got to start building someone. They did get a 1st down out to the 30. Pinkett out to the 33-yard line. Not big, but very strong. He can bench press over 400 pounds, Alan Pinkett. Tim Crumry, the nose tackle, was on the stop again.
This is one of the features of this 4-1-6 defense that Dick LeBeau came up with, and is offsetting the nose tackle. And you see Dawson 66 in the center 74 trying to double and rub. Crumry quick enough to get off the block and assist to on the tackle. Robo Cats. Crumry still has that 15-inch rod in his leg from the injury in the Super Bowl.
It is now getting back to that same all-pro level 2 years later. Carlson loses the handle again. He was to fall on it.
Yeah, but now, wait a minute. Pinkett recovers it, but that was a fumble in the 1st half.
That was an incomplete pass in the 1st half.
Yeah, but that's what it was ruled. But that was a fumble in the 1st half. Let's see what happens here. Again, arm going up, and the ball comes loose. That's the 2nd time that's happened. He's bringing his arm up to go into the throwing motion, and the ball is out. Now, the umpire just signaled they're going to review that, too. They're going to get it where Pinkett picks it up.
Good second look. Our producer today for NBC Sports is Terry Ewert. Our director, Andy Rosenberg. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. Coordinating producer of NFL football, John Faratzis. Replay producer, Glenn Adamo. The ball is at the 33-yard line with 9:03 to play in the 3rd quarter, and the Bengals leading the Oilers 34-0.
Again, arm going up, ball going out. Not a forward motion of the pass. This is an exact replay of what happened in the 1st half. They got the call in the 1st half as an incomplete pass. I don't think there can be any doubt about this one.
stopped raining now. Can the ball be that wet off the field?
I don't think Jack Pardee thinks it stopped raining.
Hey, give it to him. Give an incomplete pass. It was 10-0 at the end of the first quarter, Bengals. 20-0 at halftime. It's only gotten worse for the Oilers in the third quarter as the Bengals have scored twice, 14 points.
That's not Jack Petty you see there. Jack Petty is sitting right around the corner.
The interesting Cincinnati Bengals, Trump, unless something monumental changes here, will be going to the Raiders, at the Raiders next Sunday.
About the only drama left in this football game is, does Eric Wilhelm come in on the next drive?
We have a reversal. They're ruling a fumble on the play. The ball will be moved back to the spot of recovery.
Fumble this time, huh? Rumpy's well satisfied.
There's Jack Petty, the replay official. That's an excellent call.
Jack's the gentleman on the left.
There he is. Warren Moon got hurt, leading 34-0. Get him out of here now. Another left-hander. There's Warren Moon.
Jack Petty was a long-time official. Looks like he's trained up a bit.
Not good memories in this stadium for Warren Moon. This is the one from the first quarter. And the same thing happened. And they ruled that the whistle blew on the field. And that's why it was not overturned. But they were both fumbles. That one was ruled an incomplete pass. But, you know, Carlson, who is from Texas, come up in this bad weather. It's a little bit wet.
Well, like he said, Trump, our idea of a cold day in San Antonio is 55. Well, it's in the low 30s here, but the chill factor is way below that. Wind has picked up somewhat. The wind has not really been a factor, but there is a wind gusting. 32 degrees is the temperature. Third down comes up now with 7 to go for the Houston Oilers.
They're trying to determine the proper yard line to place the ball. That's the delay. The decision has already been made.
And that determination has been made, and now the Oilers go to huddle again.
Looks like it's going to be at the 27.
So the run and shoot sets up. But it's been firing blanks all day. Now a connection over the middle throw, good for a first down. On 3rd down and 14, the ball is advanced out to the 45-yard line. Leonard Harris makes the catch, good for a 17-yard gain.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the Houston Oilers' longest gain of the day. That 17-yard reception. This is an offense that was over 6,000 yards for the season, scored 405 points. And the longest gain to this point, 17 yards, and they've been shut out.
This is an indoor offense, and inclement weather, it doesn't work. Out pattern, again, go to Leonard Harris, and he's ahead on first down for a gain of almost 10. So Carlson on the last 2 throws gets a little rhythm going with his receivers.
Well, the defense is certainly going to be very, very lax in its coverage. Make sure that no one gets behind you. You play the rest of this game. You look at the offensive coordinator, Kevin Gilbride there with Warren Moon. The defense's philosophy from this point out is we'll give them the 8 to 10 yard completions. They're not going to get anything past us.
Second and 3. Alan Pinkett breaks ahead into open field, and Pinkett's on the run down inside the 35-yard line. Well done by Pinkett as he breaks ahead. Rod Jones and Eric Thomas, 2 defensive backs, finally brought him down.
certainly have documented Barney Bussey cheating to the line of scrimmage all day. He messes up the number count, but watch, Bussey misses the tackle, and therefore Pinkett can get up the field. He's got to get up there and cheat the line of scrimmage, but he's also got to make the tackle. Pinkett with a nice pickup for Houston.
6:50 to go. Third quarter. Bengals in the lead 34-0. Harrelson takes off. He's going to get a first down and then bail out. So the Oilers now down the closest they've been from.
Closest they've been. It's the first time across the 50. Absolutely. Look at that, 98 yards total offense today. Last week, Carlson started the game so positively for Houston. Had a couple, 3 quick completions. Today, trouble hanging on to the football.
Elliot Kalbar, NBC statistician, pointing out the Oilers average over 25 points a game. But so far, through almost 3/4 of play, they have none at all today. Pinkett down to the 16-yard line. So Alan Pinkett, in his 5th year, has been the best threat so far for the Oilers on offense.
Lorenzo White out of the game. He was their leading rusher for the 1990 season. And Pinkett, that little back like James Brooks. 4 carries, 26 yards, trying anything. But the problem is, it's still the run and shoot. Nothing else to go to. I think the Cincinnati Bengals would be very content to allow Alan Pinkett just to chip the ball down the field here, run it. No big plays.
Bengals have to be counting their winnings and thinking about L.A. today. They lost to the Raiders at the Coliseum earlier this season. Harrelson throws, makes the connection, and heading on in is Ernest Gibbons. And the Oilers are on the board. I thought they'd get a big ovation, but that touchdown greeter was a deafening silence.
That's Gibbons' 10th touchdown reception of 1990. And he runs an excellent pattern. He is the man coming in motion. He gives it one of those little things that kind of a delay inside, outside. And it looks like the coverage is too soft, and Lewis Billups is not even close. Gibbons able to run it in, and Houston fans are saying, where's that been all day?
Garcia on the field, and he puts the point after up and good. And so with 5:15 to play in the third quarter, the Oilers are finally on the board, trailing Cincinnati 34-7. Don Criqui back at Cincinnati, where the Oilers have finally scored. Positioning for an onside kick is just a fake, though. It is hit downfield by Garcia to Stanford Jennings. Looking for the gap. On there, he takes a short kickoff. Woo, a free ball. They're going to rule him down. Yes, they are. No fumble. Bengals get the ball on offense. First down and 10.
Who comes out at quarterback? Boomer Esiason. Wait a minute. Didn't Sam White? Here you see the kickoff. Here you see the kickoff return. It looks like he's down, but 2 weeks ago, an open dislocation of the thumb by Warren Moon. Here again, it's Eugene Seal who makes the hit. Saying his knee was down, and Boomer Esiason is still in at quarterback.
Stanford Jennings in at running back, and he gets the carry. Crosses the 25-yard line. Trump early in the season, Boomer was making some guarantees himself.
Yeah, this was back in September. Boomer Esiason was very confident with his football team. Of course, they started the season with 3 straight wins against the Jets, San Diego, and New England. And then they lost at Seattle. They had that road trip. I mean, it was like a tour of the West Coast in the NFL. And they play the Raiders next week. If they continue this way, it'll be their 5th trip to the West Coast in one season.
Out pattern goes to Eddie Brown on a 2nd down and 9 play. He's ahead for about 8 yards.
Sam White is taking a chance. I mean, you see Eddie Brown's route here. Patrick Allen is the man in coverage, and it's a very high percentage pass, just a hitch. Sam White saw Warren Moon hurt 2 weeks ago, when the game was out of reach. And frankly, without Boomer Esiason at quarterback, this team has no chance.
Boomer still at the controls with a 34-7 lead. 3:45 to play in the third quarter. Play fake. Boomer on the run, heading for the 12th man, the sideline. And he gamely steps out, but gets a first down.
Big block by Jim Riggs.
Another big one by Riggs.
Same keeper play. Well, I guess they think Boomer Esiason's a tough guy. Watch the block by Riggs, 87. He goes out of the picture. He'll come back in. And he gets it on Lathan, 57. Boomer able to get up for a first down pickup. Good play action fake. There's Riggs. Watch the block he gets. That's protecting your quarterback. Boomer owes him dinner.
Boomer had thrown the most interceptions of any QB in the NFL during the regular season, 22. But he hasn't thrown any today. And now Stanford Jennings turns it upfield on a first down carry and gets into the Houston Oilers end, crossing midfield to the 48. Gary Kennard, the free safety, and another stop for Houston.
Or Sam White likes Stanford Jennings because he's a fellow Herman Paladin instead. Jennings had that kickoff return in the Super Bowl. There's also a Herman Purple Paladin, Sam White, who on Sunday morning is up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and drives around literally the slums of Cincinnati looking for people that he can help.
Not helping the Oilers. Here's a give to Stanford Jennings. First down, Bengals. Patrick Allen, a defensive back, made the stop. You must remember that Boomer Esiason is ready and able to deliver the ball into the end zone at any moment. We're running the clock now, but he will go to hit deep again.
My opinion would be that's foolish to try to get it way down the field, because then you put your quarterback in jeopardy, and you can see the fatigue of the Houston Oilers. They blame bad tackling on their loss to the Bengals 2 weeks ago. And now they're so worn out, the bad tackling has resurfaced.
Stanford Jennings, who had a moment to remember in that Super Bowl. Joe Robbie Stadium, ran back a kickoff against the 49ers for a touchdown. Handoff to Eric Fogg. He breaks through tacklers, keeps on moving, and finishes down at the 25-yard line. 15 yards and another first down. Tackle again by Kennard.
You know, Don, coming into the second Bengal game here in Cincinnati, the Houston Oilers defense was ranked number 1 against the rush. Watch 84 Caddis on the trap. After that game, when James Brooks had 201 yards rushing, they dropped to number 2. The Cincinnati Bengal offense, their rushing game, has personally dismantled this Houston rushing game in 2 games late season in 1990. .50 seconds to go in the third quarter. Back to the run. Ball at 215 pounds with those elusive moves to go with it. And he takes it down close to the 15-yard line where he had to go for the first down. He'll be a yard short. Eric Caddis again. He comes on the tight end trap. Hits Sean Jones. You couldn't have talked me into doing that. No, sir. Absolutely not. That is not on my contract, and that is not negotiable. The tight ends don't pull and trap on defensive ends. That's a big 84 that kid wears. I was not interested in doing that.
Your old number, which they didn't retire.
No, this was.
Third quarter runs out. And the Bengals win that one 14-7 as they command the game 34-7. They'll be right back to Riverfront Stadium after these messages from your local station. Be aware, the Redskins were a winner at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia 20-6, an upset winner. And then Miami held on to beat Kansas City at Joe Robbie Stadium. Divisional playoffs come up next weekend, beginning with NFL Live at 12 noon next Saturday. The Dolphins will go against the Bills at Buffalo, and the Bengals will go out west to play the Raiders at Los Angeles if this score holds up. Eric Ball reverses his field and takes it down to the 10-yard line.
Don, that is the 58th offensive play that the Cincinnati Bengals have run in this football game, the first snap into the fourth quarter. The most plays the Oilers defensive plays have faced this year, 68. I mean, you need balance when you win in the NFL. Offense to defense, run to pass, and look at the imbalance there today. 29 plays offensively for Houston to 58 for Cincinnati.
He said earlier, Trump, you wonder about the wisdom of keeping an all-important player like Esiason on the field with a big lead. There's a throw and a touchdown. Eric Kellis.
I guess after the two big blocks he throws for Boomer Esiason, Boomer feels like he owes him one. So he throws it to him.
These Bengal fans have to be tired of cheering. They're worn out.
Esiason does take a hit here when he throws the ball.
It's a good one.
Looks like Glenn Montgomery was the guy who hit him. But Caddis runs the out-in route. Nobody there. Now will we see Wilhelm?
Well, your quarterback's in additional jeopardy when you got a team as in ill humor as the Oilers are right now. Losing 40-7. Remember that 61-7 Houston loss here. That was the get back at Glanville game.
Whoops, quicker than 7. 9 plays, 75 yards.
So when we come back, the Bengals will be kicking off.
Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
Back to Cincinnati for yet another kickoff as Bernard Ford runs it back for the Oilers and gets to about the 26-yard line. So I guess, Trump, you just keep running and shooting as best you can if you're the Houston Oilers.
It's you said it earlier, they're firing blanks.
Oilers last 4 trips to Riverfront. 44-21 in 88, 61-7 in 89, 40-20 2 weeks ago, 41-7 today. Next year when Val Pinchback and the schedule makers put the thing together, they won't come. That's amazing. They're throwing that one in.
These two teams are not that far apart.
Well, they beat the Bengals, did the Oilers, 48-17 this season at the Astrodome. Cody Carlson takes it himself. Heads for the sidelines. Billups closes in, and Carlson's down at the 34.
David Grant makes the tackle.
We were talking about the run and shoot not being a good weather offense, and everybody agrees with that. The one argument against it, Detroit went up to Green Bay not long ago and won in freezing, but it wasn't rain.
Well, I just think
you're not a run and shoot man.
No, not
I know
really.
Bill Walsh isn't.
Not really. We saw Warren Moon against the Kansas City Chiefs just tear up the Chiefs. And Carlson here showing his guts by sticking his head in there and picking up about 9 yards.
Throwing a catch on the quick out pattern. Turning out is Ernest Givens, who caught the touchdown pass.
The thing I don't like about the run and shoot, the main thing I don't like about the run and shoot is when you make the commitment to the program, as you'll watch this catch by Givens, Billups 24 in coverage, as you make the commitment to the run and shoot, it's got to be complete personnel change from the way the NFL normally functions. I mean, when this Houston Oilers defense practices, they don't have any tight ends to be Rodney Holman, Jim Riggs, or Eric Caddis. That's how desperate they are with the run and shoot. Personnel-wise, you commit totally to the run and shoot.
Carlson puts up a wobbler, but Givens is out of bounds.
Nice try. Givens comes from out of bounds, back in bounds, try to catch it. Jason Buck with pressure in the face. And watch Buck at the bottom of the screen. This gets up in his face, and Carlson just has to throw it away. Now, we're judging the run and shoot with Cody Carlson here at quarterback. With Warren Moon at quarterback, this is obviously a much different offense. but there is definitely a downside, and we've seen it today. When it doesn't work, you have nothing else to go to.
Second down. Oilers need 10. Gibbons. Eric Thomas got him first, and Rod Jones came up and stuck him. Gibbons is a tremendous player in his 5th year out of Louisville. 72 regular season receptions, 9 for touchdowns. He was 21 yards short of 1,000 yards receiving. Jeffries was over 1,000 yards receiving for the Oilers this year. So was Drew Hill.
You know, Gibbons, when he heard that they were going to the run and shoot, insured himself at a cost of $35,000 against injury. There's the defensive coordinator of the Bengals, Dick LeBeau. Tip of the cap to him. He has shut this run and shoot down twice in a row now.
His defense was maligned early, but in the recent weeks they've really risen up. Carlson drills the ball downfield, too much on it. Jeffries running the fly pattern. Had a step on Rod Jones, but an overshoot.
Again, Dick LeBeau, he has folded and spindled and manipulated this defense throughout the season to get it to perform at its level. Early and middle stages of this season, it did not function very well. The offense had to go out thinking that they had to score 40 points to win a game. This guy has not been given enough credit for all that he's done with his defense of changing personnel and just moving around to give a different look on every single snap. And frankly, the last couple of 3 weeks, this defense has played very respectable.
Early they had no pass, not any. Now they've gotten a good one in the recent weeks. Grant's been a big factor there as the punt is run back for Cincinnati by Mitchell Price. .41-7 is the count, Cincinnati. We're back at Riverfront Stadium, and now Eric Wilhelm is in to quarterback. Eric is a second-year player from Oregon State. Has thrown just 19 passes this year and hit 12 of them. No touchdowns, no interceptions.
Not a moment too soon for Bengal fans as Eric Wilhelm in there.
The game now is run the ball. Or is it? Eric's going to put it right up. Yo, almost came back at him. Bubba McDowell, the strong safety in coverage, had a play on the ball. Had he gotten it, he'd have gone in.
I'm not sure they'll throw it again.
During the last break, the Cincinnati fans started cheering, "Beat L.A." It won't be easy.
This is a simple out pattern run by the receiver, and Eric is just a little bit late getting it out there. Eric Ball, the intended receiver. McDowell almost comes up with the interception, and you're right, he'd have returned it for a touchdown.
On 2nd and 10, Stanford Jennings runs the ball. He's ahead for 6. Tackle on the play by Glenn Montgomery, number 94.
You know that chant that the fans were shouting, "Beat L.A.? That's no small feat. I don't like the matchup Cincinnati to Los Angeles. Big running backs have hurt this defensive football team. Eric Dickerson did. The kid out in Seattle, Fenner, did. This is a defense that can't stand a big, heavy, pounding offensive line against it. They can trick and move and game and all the rest of that stuff, but when they stand shoulder to shoulder as Kazerski comes out, the starting center, well, they got Reimers on the sideline.
And from Holy Cross, who's had a terrific year. Bruce Kazerski hurting at the moment as Wilhelm sprints out. Skips in an incomplete pass on 3rd down, and the Bengals have to punt it with 10:04 to play in the game. You talk about a big line and big backs. The Raiders have that. What a great year they've had. Out of the playoffs 5 years, now 12-4 and divisional champion.
There's Bruce Kazerski. It looks like they're looking at his elbow. With Bruce Reimers on the sideline for the second half. There's Reimers right there. He's on crutches. That's Brian Blado standing next to him. He's out for the season with a neck injury. Don't know the extent of Reimers' injury.
Punt downfield, and Gerald McNeil fair catches the ball for Houston at the 49-yard line. It is interesting. In 1981, the Bengals started off 2-0, went to the Super Bowl. In 88, they were 2-0, went to the Super Bowl, and they were 2-0 this year. With Bob Trumpy, this is Don Crickey back at Riverfront Stadium. Oilers have the ball on a big hole to try to dig out of. They're down 41-7 with 9:57 to play. Carlson throws. Connections made with Leonard Harris, an inside receiver, 5'8", from Texas Tech.
How about that?
Bengals 1-10 versus the Raiders when playing the Raiders either in Oakland or Los Angeles in recent years.
The one win was in 1988, the Super Bowl year. 45-21, they beat L.A. It was not a playoff victory. The Bengals are 0-3 on the road in the playoffs. That's part of all three of those games.
Talking about the Bengals off to those 2-0 starts, the only 3 times they've been off to the 2-0 starts in their history. 81 when they went to the Super Bowl. 88 when they went in this year, when it looked like they weren't going to make the playoffs, but really came on late in the season to do that. Barney Bussey makes the tackle on Alan Pinkett. The Bengals' playoff history. Lost to the 49ers on the drive at Joe Robbie Stadium. Lost to the Jets in 82. That was when Forrest Gregg was the head coach.
Yeah, the first 3 were under Paul Brown, and we lost in all 3 seasons to the eventual Super Bowl champion. 70 to the Colts, 72 to the Dolphins, and 75 to the Raiders.
Right?
Yes.
Running with the ball and very well is Ernest Givens. Best is yet to come. Usually when Ernest catches the ball, he might be as good as anybody in the league after the catch. Another Super Bowl fact, 16 of today's starters for the Bengals started in Super Bowl 23.
There's one not there. That's a big one. He starts at right guard for the Los Angeles Raiders.
Max Montoya.
Max Montoya.
Left as a Plan B free agent.
Did. Big loss.
An even bigger loss right now because they had 2 offensive linemen go down today. We don't know if they'll be back next week. Carlson a bit low on his throw attempt to Givens.
Well, he was called Commander Cody last week. Maybe he's down to Colonel. I should say Corporal.
A report, Reimers is in better shape than was initially feared. He has a twisted ankle and should be ready to go next week. And there is the shooting star of the run and shoot, Warren Moon. I never saw a better game he played when we were at Kansas City. And he passed for 527 yards and literally put us in for 700 if they kept him passing the whole 4th quarter.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
5:27 with 5 minutes to go in the game.
Pinkett takes it down to the 5-yard line, a 15-yard run.
That's a little trap they run. Houston runs. Watch the center. He's got Crumry on him. Takes him that way. Good double team. Pinkett pops right up in there. Now the Bengals defense is pretty much taking the rest of this game off, and they got to be careful they don't get hurt. Yeah, you saw Fulcher get hammered there. Got to play hard or you get hurt.
First down and goal for the Houston Oilers with 7:05 to play. Touchdown to Ernest Givens. So Carlson to Givens works twice for Houston on the payoff end. And it's a 41-13 game. Ernest having a big day if no one else on the Oilers is.
Irrelevant points in this football game, though. They just couldn't get it done when they needed to, and the mindset of the game was totally controlled by the Bengals in the first half. Givens is the inside receiver there. No coverage on him. Carlson rolls to it, makes the completion. Just irrelevant points.
And the irony is that this game where at the Astrodome, a score would probably be the same, only reversed. That's how dominant the home team has been in this rivalry. It'll be 12 of the last 13 times that the Oilers and the Bengals have played that the home team has won. Carlson to Givens touchdown pass, their second scoring combination of the day, gives the Oilers 14 points, but they're long out of this game, trailing 41-14. Eddie Garcia ready to kick it off. Hits it hard, but low, and Eddie Brown looking to run it back. Eddie wisely steps out.
Yeah, the Bengals had their hands team on there expecting the onside kick, but I guess Jack Pardee says, let's try to get out of here with no more injuries than we've gotten.
Carlson to Givens touchdown pass, their second scoring combination of the day. Gives the Oilers 14 points, but they're long out of this game, trailing 41-14. Eddie Garcia ready to kick it off. Hits it hard, but low, and Eddie Brown looking to run it back. Eddie wisely steps out.
Yeah, the Bengals had their hands team on there expecting the onside kick, but I guess Jack Pardee says, let's try to get out of here with no more injuries than we've gotten.
Are you a sports illiterate? That wasn't directed at you. Government. Watch Expose, anchored by Tom Brokaw. It'll be on Extraordinary Hours television tonight, only on NBC. Game clock down to 6:40 to play. And the Bengals, as we mentioned earlier, their coach Sam White said our playoff season began 2 weeks ago against the Oilers. They put the knockout punch on the Oilers that day. It was even worse today.
Well, with the confidence the Houston Oilers had coming into this game, this has to come as a real shock to them. And Carlson congratulating his offensive lineman there. He was a star for 1 week.
Wilhelm, left-hander, drills it out. Like those southpaws in the Cincinnati offense. Mike Barber makes the catch. Really, as you've mentioned, Trump, have to really compliment the job the Cincinnati coaching staff did. Jim Anderson, Dana Bible, Marv Braden, this is all in alphabetical order. Bill Johnson, Dick LeBeau, their coordinator, Jim McNally, Dick Seltzer, Mike Stock, Chuck Studley, and Kim Wood. They had them ready.
Yeah, the defense on this team is the part that's made the major change. And it's not that they've gotten somebody back that's been healthy. The defensive surprise of the team have been 2 people, I think. James Francis, the linebacker, and Barney Bussey have played extremely well for the Cincinnati Bengals latter stages of the season. And this is not a big, tough defense. That's where they stand currently. And they went the entire first half with 1 first down, so they've gotten 10 in the second half, and the game's totally out of reach. Yards rushing, last week they had 195, this week 64.
Bengals were the fastest franchise expansion team ever to make it to the playoffs. Trumpy was part of that team that in its 3rd year went to the American Football League playoffs. Actually been to the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, it was.
Merger.
We played the Baltimore Colts in Baltimore. 1, the field was totally dirt tinted green. And 2, I made sure I got in Johnny Unitas's way when he ran on the field. That's how young and inexperienced I was. I couldn't care less about the outcome of the game when it was 17-0. I made sure that I got in Johnny Unitas's way when he came on the field. I wanted to bump shoulders with Johnny Unitas.
Just so he'd know you were there.
Just try to kick dirt on those high tops, you know.
Tight end doesn't very often get a shot at a quarterback.
No, but the game was over, so I had one thing left to do. Get in Johnny Unitas' way.
Wilhelm downfield throwing. Karras has it and loses it. That might be a live ball. They're going to rule it incomplete. But he might have had it and lost it on the hit. It was a hellacious hit put on by linebacker Al Smith, 54.
Boy, it knocked the wind out of Caddis, too. Wilhelm late with this throw. Caddis goes up for it. Kennard, 27, makes the hit. No, second foot did not come down. Incomplete pass.
Kennard got him first, then Al Smith, a big 245-pound linebacker, busted the ball loose. Incomplete, and the Bengals will punt it with 4:18 to go in the game.
Place going to be looked at. The umpire signaling there to everyone. On the postgame show, we'll be joining Bob Costas, Will McDonough, Bill Walsh, and
Here at Riverfront Stadium, O.J. Simpson and Todd Christensen, as they're reviewing that last play. Trump, what kind of a shot do you think the Bengals have next Sunday against the Raiders?
I don't like their chances. I don't like their chances. Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson and that big offensive line.
After further review, the play stands. Incomplete pass, 4th down.
I don't like their chances.
How about Miami at Buffalo on Saturday?
I like Buffalo, regardless of the weather. Have you heard whether Jim Kelly's going to be back and able to play?
I haven't. I know that this week he started running and strength training on his ailing knee. He's been throwing for about 10 days. McNeil back for the Oilers. I'm quite sure it's a decision that hasn't been made yet. Reich has been sharp when he had to be in that win over Miami. Bills just showed up in their final game with nothing to gain at Washington. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Bengals and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, of the Bengals and the Houston Oilers. All rights are reserved. Next week, NFL Live begins at noon. Then it's Miami and Buffalo Bills at Orchard Park, New York. On Sunday at 3:30 p.m. it's NFL Live. Then the Bengals take on the Raiders at the Los Angeles Coliseum. Almost a pickoff here by James Francis, number 50.
Interesting thing that Cincinnati now must consider with the inclement weather here this time of the year. Do they go someplace? He only completed Cody passes in Wyoming. Do they go someplace to work out in preparation for the Raiders, or do you stay in Cincinnati? Now, see, they've made 5 trips to the West Coast to play teams. When they played Seattle on a Monday night, they went to Los Angeles. Actually, they worked out in Seattle and stayed out there on the West Coast to play the Rams the next week and won that game. Lost to Seattle and beat the Rams. So a lot of decisions have to be made in short order here about this trip to the West Coast.
Carlson throws, and he's almost picked off by Lewis Billups. It really is a different world they'll be playing in next Sunday at Los Angeles, where warm and sunny. They'll be playing on a grass field. 30 degrees today here in Cincinnati. Artificial turf. It's wet. I think the Chiefs really might have set the standard. They went down to Vero Beach, worked out all week, getting ready for the Dolphins, and almost won it.
Yeah, a lot of teams have gone to Vero Beach. Cleveland went to Vero Beach several years ago, but the Rams facility is certainly available. They're not in the playoffs, so you could move into the Rams facility at Anaheim, and you know, they've got the same videotape equipment. They could just take their tapes out, and the Bengals could move in.
Carlson lets a long ball go and makes a completion downfield to Haywood Jeffries with 3:57 to play.
It's just his second catch of the day.
One thing this Bengal offensive line has really taken care of is Siason when he was in today. He's going to be under a heavy rush against the Raiders. They can really rush the passer.
No question about it. Jeffries' second catch of the day. This is a guy who was well over 1,000 yards and 70-plus catches. Their leading receiver in 1990. And almost non-existent today. And he's got a smile on his face, looking forward to 91.
He was talking a good game. He got biblical before this game, saying that Cody Carlson is our Moses and the football's his staff, and he'll part the Bengals defense.
I think they're reviewing this catch. Let's see if that second foot does come down out of bounds. 1, 2, good catch. Good catch. Jeffries has certainly added a dimension to the run and shoot. That outside receiver, generally speaking, in the run and shoot, the inside receivers are the guy who get all. They're the guys who get all the business. He has control. Second foot. I think he has control before that third step goes down out of bounds. 1, 2. Looks like he's got it to me.
The home field, such a critical factor in the playoffs. All 4 teams that win this weekend will be underdogs on the road next weekend. And then you just consider if the Raiders, as a favorite, should beat the Bengals, and the Bills should win at home, and the Raiders would have to go to Buffalo.
course, the Redskins beat Philadelphia at the bet yesterday.
Right. And they'll be an underdog on the road again next week.
He's released tomorrow from Marion Prison over in Illinois.
You know Pete Rose well, Trump.
Too.
Apparently his home's for sale in Cincinnati. He's going to move to Florida.
My understanding, the home was already sold. And he's also selling his house in Plant City, and they'd like to settle, he and his family would like to settle in Boca Raton, Florida. But he has to spend 3 months, I believe, in a halfway house here in Cincinnati before he can even contemplate moving to Florida. And yes, he is still an icon here in Cincinnati. I mean, there are people that will forgive him for anything, and he is the greatest sports hero this city has ever had. It's still Pete Rose way outside this stadium, and I don't think it'll ever change.
Here's the recap. Early in the game, Ickey Woods on a 1-yard dive over the top gave the Bengals a 7-0 lead. Soon after, Jim Breach kicked a 28-yard field goal, and the Bengals were rolling, only to pile on more when Esiason with a great play fake through to Harold Green. And then Breach kicked another field goal. Eric Ball with a 3-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. And then Boomer Esiason ran one in himself. And it has since been extended to a 41-14 lead. As the Oilers now, in what has become garbage time, get the ball up the middle of the field and down to the 49-yard line.
Not done scoring yet.
There's more. Wait, there's more. Carlson to Gibbons, 16-yard touchdown pass, and the Oilers were finally on the board. Esiason to Cattis, a 10-yard touchdown pass. You thought that was in thanks for those good blocks he threw for Boomer.
Well, when you make the tight end trap, you got to throw him a touchdown pass. You have to.
Big Joe Walter, a 6'7", 300-pound offensive tackle. Have his hands full next week. Here's an out pattern to Leonard Harris. Incomplete. Brings up 3rd down and 10. Post-game show coming up with Bob, Will, and Bill, and O.J. and Todd, who are all here. Todd and O.J. are.
Yeah, Don, if there was a turning point in this game, my feeling was that pass that slipped out of Cody Carlson's hand went as incomplete. But I think it told a lot of people on the Houston sideline, it's not going to go easy for us today. And it hasn't since that play.
Carlson trying to elude the rush. Down at about the 48-yard line of Cincinnati. Jason Buck ran him down. The game was sold out here in Cincinnati, but there won't be any traffic jam leaving. The Bengals sent their fans home early and happy.
A few left.
Actually, the Ohio River was about 2 feet away from closing this place down.
Yeah, it was pretty tough about 5 or 6 days ago. As a matter of fact, they closed some riverfront restaurants. There's Eric Cattis on the sideline. Big blocking day and a big reception day for Eric Cattis. Actually, everything worked for Cincinnati. The only negative, the injuries to James Brooks and Bruce Reimer.
Throw and an incomplete pass to the 33-yard line as the 2-minute warning is given. So the concluding moments of the game really over long ago. Conference are now set for next weekend. On Saturday, the Miami Dolphins will be playing the Buffalo Bills at Orchard Park, New York. And on Sunday, the Cincinnati Bengals, a 41-14 leader over Houston today, will be going against the Raiders at the Coliseum.
Yeah, they'll certainly take 40 rushes for 193 yards, which is what the Bengals have produced today. But I don't think that's possible against the Los Angeles Raiders. That is a very difficult team to run on, and they're also an excellent team at rushing the ball. It's got to be the Bengals fans and players' two major concerns.
Greg Montgomery in to punt the ball now for Houston. It's a high one downfield. Mitchell Price lets it carry down and into the end zone for a touchback.
Well, certainly the frustration continues. Dishman almost made a great play.
The executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. The coordinating producer of NBC's football is John Ferrazis. Today's game was produced by Terry Ewert. Directed by Andy Rosenberg. Videotape producer Glenn Adamo. Associate Director John Gilmartin. Production Associates Ed Fibashoff and Bill Matthews. Technical Manager Bill Parinello. Production Manager Ralph McFarland. Technical Director Mitch Geller, and we thank them all. As the Bengals, who've not been to the playoffs since 1988, when they took it all the way to the Super Bowl, are ready to make the next leg, a trip to Los Angeles.
I guarantee you that the question will still remain here in Cincinnati. Which team shows up next week? The team that played today or the team that played against the Raiders several weeks ago in Los Angeles? And the Bengals have not, they just weren't able to put together a long winning streak. They had 3 to start the season, but then they've now ended to this point with 3 wins. One over Houston, one over Cleveland, and then today they've just not been consistent throughout the season.
Of course, the Bengals with a 1,000-yard rusher, James Brooks, a truly great player. He undergoes surgery tonight on an injured thumb. They're hoping he can play. So now the game clock will wind out, and what remains of a very enthusiastic Bengal following saluting the Bengals on one of their best performances as they beat the Houston Oilers 41-14. The final snap to Wilhelm, and that will do it. The post-game show is coming up at NFL Live, and a review of today's game and what's coming up next weekend as Sam White scores a tremendous victory along with his Bengals. Final score, the Cincinnati Bengals 14, the Cincinnati Bengals 41, the Houston Oilers 14. The Bengals with a 20-0 halftime lead, and they extended it in the second half. With Bob Trumpy, this is Don Criqui. We'll be coming back to Cincinnati in a moment.
Welcome back to our NFL Live studio in New York. This is just to let you know that we're here. Bob Costas with Will McDonough and Bill Walsh, and we'll get to the rest of the post-game show in just a moment. But we want to send things right back out to Cincinnati and go to O.J. Simpson, who is standing by on the sideline with Boomer Esiason and with Sam Weiss. Take it, Juice.
Hey, thank you, Bob. Sam, you told me before the game that your team was ready. Do you mean they were just ready for this game, or is this team back to the Super Bowl form of a few years?
Well, we can't talk too big. We were so ready for this game, including the guy you're going to talk to next, Boomer, but everybody was into this game. Are you into this game? Settle down. Quit laughing.
I'm being goosed by the Boomer back here.
No, it's part of Bengal tradition. Well, everybody was so ready for this game. We just had the warm feeling that we were going to play well. A good team. Houston's nothing wrong with that ball club. We just played well.
Well, tell me about your injuries. You have a couple of offensive linemen look like they went down, and of course James Brooks.
Well, the Reimer's ankle is not broken, but it could be a severe sprain. James Brooks just got out of the operating room. He might play next week. And Anthony Munoz will be ready to go. I think everybody else will be ready to go.
Your plans this week, you went out to L.A. once. I mean, you spent a week out there, and you played real well against the Rams. What are the plans? You going to practice here or go out west?
We're going to stay at your house Thursday and Friday night, and then we're going to go on and play the game.
Well, congratulations,
okay,
Coach.
Thank you.
I got Boomer over here. Boomer, there's a lot of speculation that you've been playing hurt most of this year. You certainly didn't look like that today.
Well, we had a great offensive game plan. I mean, Sam dropped back on first down. The offensive line gave me a lot of time. You know, when you got guys running like the way we did today, even though we lost J.B. and Harold Green early, you got to give a lot of credit to Eric Ball, Stanford Jennings, and Ickey Woods for picking up the slack.
All the guys told me before the game that this team has the same frame of mind that they had during the Super Bowl year. All of a sudden it's there. Did you feel that?
Well, you know, it was here today, and we played in the jungle. I mean, our fans were great today. And now we got to take it on the road, and we didn't play very well the last time we played Los Angeles. They gave us a pretty good beating, so we're going to have our hands full next week.
Well, what are you going to have to do differently than you did when you played the Raiders the first time?
When we played them last time, you know, I threw 2 interceptions, and they hurt us very badly. Actually, the Raiders turned it into 14 points against us. So it'll have to be a good decision-making process on my part. Our defense is going to have to shut down Jay Schrader and Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen. I mean, they have a whole host of players out there, and we're not going to have the weather on our side this time.
Well, we know that they don't play well here. Meanwhile, the Bengals have never won a playoff game on the road, and you've been here a long time. Why is that?
You know, well, you know, I can tell you, I've only played one playoff game on the road, and that was the Super Bowl, you know. So, you know, I don't know what the problem is, but I can tell you we were 500 on the road this year. We were actually, I think, a better road team than we were a home team. So maybe we'll have a little bit of, you know, momentum going into this game.
Well, good luck next week.
Juice, you look good with makeup on, baby. I'll tell you.
I've been hanging around with you once. You were wearing a little makeup, and I've never worn pantyhose.
Neither have I. I wore underwear. Remember that, all right?
Back to you, Bob.
Well, and it's certainly good to know that goosing Hall of Fame running backs is a part of Bengal tradition. For me, that was the most interesting revelation of the afternoon. We just got the lines from Danny Sheridan of the USA Today. Buffalo is favored by 6 over Miami. The Raiders 5.5 over Cincinnati. Back after this from your local station. Today's wild card doubleheader, the Saints and Bears kick off just after 4 p.m. Eastern Time at Soldier Field. So for now, we invite you to stay with us. We'll be going back to Cincinnati for player interviews. We'll hear from Buffalo coach Marv Levy, and we'll go out to Chicago for a preview of that upcoming NFC game in just a moment. The AFC picture, of course, is set for next weekend now. On Saturday, the Dolphins go back to Buffalo. The Bills favored by 6 at this point. Of course, Miami lost in Buffalo 3 weeks ago, and that was the game that decided the AFC East crown. The weather figures to be winter-like, to say the least. Then on Sunday, the Bengals travel to Los Angeles for the second time this season. They'll go in as about a 5.5-point underdog. Bo Jackson's spectacular run sparked the Raider win last month. You remember this one. He was caught just before the goal line. The Raiders won the game by a score of 24-7. The Bengals scored early on a Boomer Esiason touchdown pass and was shut out for the next 3.5 quarters, and their running game was shut down pretty well, too. Caught by his shoelace right at the goal line after a run of better than 80 yards. Well, Bill, you'll be at the Coliseum next week with Dick Enberg for the call of the Raider game against the Bengals. What do you think? Any way Cincinnati can win this one?
I think so. There's a scenario you could develop where they would win the game. This is as sharp as I've seen Cincinnati play all year, or maybe for many years. They played error-free football, executed beautifully. That's what it'll take next week. It'll also take, I think, the Raiders being stale from the layoff and not as sharp as they were, and a little too confident because they won by 24-7 last time. So there's a scenario that could be developed. But in developing it, Boomer has to hit 2 or 3 big passes that score, that sort of compensate for what Bo Jackson may do to them.
Even if James Brooks can play, and we heard Sam Weiss say it's possible that he could, he can't be at 100%, and that's a big, big loss.
It'll be tough. Trying to play him, only being able to use his right hand with his left thumb bandage, it's going to be tough. They're going to have to win with Boomer throwing the ball.
Okay, now Miami goes back to Buffalo. Your thoughts on that?
Well, the story all week is going to focus on Jim Kelly. Can he come back to play after that knee injury? But I think the story of the game, when it gets to be played, will be Thurman Thomas. Can Miami handle Thurman Thomas? If they can stop him, they can win. If they can't, Buffalo will win the game.
Shula, Schottenheimer, and Levy, those 3 NFL coaches are standing by. We'll talk with all 3 when we come back with more on the postgame show right after this. Okay, welcome back to New York. The final again from Riverfront. Cincinnati demolishes Houston 41-14. In yesterday's AFC wildcard game, the Dolphins rallied from a 13-point fourth-quarter deficit to eliminate Kansas City. For Don Shula, it was cause to celebrate one day after his 61st birthday.
Are you all going to Buffalo? You okay? We're going there or somewhere, I guess. We're going to play again. What a great feeling.
The Dolphins were joyous because Dan Marino threaded a perfect pass to Mark Clayton to cap a furious fourth-quarter comeback.
You got to make sure you throw it low and outside, and if make sure Clayton's the only one that can get it, and if he can't, that it's incomplete because it's only first down.
I figured I never considered what would happen if I missed and if he scored a touchdown because time was on our side in that situation. So I sold myself out to making the interception and running it in.
The Chiefs had one more chance when Nick Lowry attempted a 52-yard field goal in the final minute, but the kick fell just short, ending a Kansas City season marked by Steve DeBerg's courageous leadership.
I really don't think that I can quit on this note, and I'm pretty positive I'll be back next year, and hopefully we can do even better things.
Steve DeBerg understandably disappointed. He and the Chiefs will have all winter to relive yesterday's events, while the Dolphins look ahead to next Saturday's rematch with the Bills. Earlier I spoke with Don Shula and Marty Schottenheimer. Here it is. Don, when Dan Marino has it going the way he did in the fourth quarter yesterday, it's a thing of beauty. I think he was something like 8 for 8 in that final period.
I think 9 for 9 and 2 great drives. We had a 10-play drive and 11-play drive, and when you do that against Kansas City's defense, that's really accomplishing something. We were shut out up until then offensively, and then we got the 2 touchdowns when we had to have them.
Marty, did you get the feeling, not that you wouldn't respect the Dolphins in all situations, but up 16-3, did you feel the game was in hand?
No, I really didn't, and it was a combination of two factors. Number one, that the point differential would certainly provide them through 2 touchdowns the opportunity for a victory. And, of course, Dan Marino, he's a guy that has done this traditionally throughout his career. His players know that he's capable of doing that. And there was no time, frankly, that we felt that we had an opportunity to salt it away.
Marty, how about that last drive? Would you like to have any of those calls back, or how many more yards would you have needed to get that field goal through the crossbars?
Well, I think the thing that obviously was difficult for us there was to come back and get a drive going, put ourselves in position to win, and then, of course, the untimely holding put us in a position now where we weren't really within a very good range for field goals. But I think you have to take your hat off to Don and the Dolphins. They played very, very tough football defensively. They did a great job against us inside the 15-yard line and forced us to kick field goals. And in the final analysis, that's the thing that I think caught up with us, Bill.
Marty, at the end of the game, there were a couple of scenes of you talking with Steve DeBerg. It looked like a very warm moment between the two of you. What was that exchange about?
Well, I told Steve, I said, you know, you've had a great season, and the best part about it is despite the fact that you're almost as old as I am, you've still got a lot of time left to play this game.
Marty Schottenheimer, classy in defeat, and now Don Shula moves on for his 3rd meeting of the year with Marv Levy's Buffalo Bills. Marv has been good enough to stand by and wait with us during the postgame show. Here he now joins us live from Buffalo. You know you have to prepare for Miami now, although you might have suspected it before today's action began. Now it's a certainty. What are your thoughts on the matchup, Marv?
Well, Bob, we felt no matter what, there was one of 3 teams we could have played, that whoever we played was going to be tough, and that we had no control over who it was we would be playing. We know now our coaches are coming in. We're getting ready to game plan. We've played twice against the Miami Dolphins this year. We suffered a resounding defeat at their hands early in the year. We won a game here by a narrower margin when they came back. They're a team now, particularly with yesterday's win, that has won the same number of games we've won during the season, and it ought to be a heck of a matchup. This is quite a rivalry between the Dolphins and ourselves, and we look forward to it, and I'm sure they do too.
Now, earlier this week, your general manager, Bill Polian, put it plainly. He said if Jim Kelly practices, then he plays. What do you expect to happen?
Well, our whole plan has been, during last week, we began Jim on workouts, and they became gradually more strenuous. And he worked out very well. He began to lift a considerable amount of weight with his knees, worked on treadmills and Stairmasters, done a little bit of straight-ahead running. We gave him today off. He'll work again tomorrow with our trainers and our strength and conditioning coach, Rusty Jones. And then if he's ready to go and start practice on Tuesday and can have a full week of practice, which I think he'll need right now after having had the layoff for the past couple of weeks, we'll go ahead with Jim. But it's in the hands of our doctors. They'll tell us whether he can go, and certainly Jim's reactions as to how he feels will determine it. We probably won't know more about it until Tuesday.
You sound optimistic, though, Marv. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but to clarify, you wouldn't be at all surprised if he's under center for the first snap on Saturday, if he starts.
No, I wouldn't. Again, I can't say definitively that he will be. Am I optimistic? Yes. Jim Kelly's optimistic, too. Neither of us is the doctor. We'll find out when he plays.
Will you have to practice both of them, Reich and Kelly, almost equally during the week?
Probably if Jim is able to practice right from the outset, he'll get most of the practice. And Frank will get the amount that he had gotten in the past, which in a normal week is several snaps a night.
Marv, thanks very much. We'll see you over the weekend against the Dolphins.
All right, Bob. Thank you.
And we'll come back with more here on the postgame show in just a moment. Todd Christensen has did throw 2 touchdown passes today, but they both came late, and the whole story of the game was in the first half. Cincinnati led 20-0 at halftime, at which point they had completely dominated, and the second half was really just a case of going through the motions for both teams. The outcome was assured, and Cincinnati wins it 41-14. The man Carlson replaced both last week when they got into the playoffs with the win over Pittsburgh, and today when things didn't work out too well, is, of course, Warren Moon, and he's with our Todd Christensen at Riverfront Stadium. Todd?
Thank you, Bob. Warren, a decidedly different atmosphere here on this side of the ball as a result of this defeat, and I appreciate your coming out there hardy and courageous in this particular weather. It's got to be frustrating for you to have to sit and watch. What were the problems that Cody had early on in the game?
Well, first of all, we just couldn't get the ball. It seemed like we were standing over on the sidelines forever because their offense was really controlling the tempo, controlling the clock, And then when we did get in there, if we didn't get anything happening on first or second down, it put him in long yardage situations, and he had a couple of times where the ball slipped out of his hand, and just some unfortunate things happened to him early. And we knew if he was going to have a great game, he'd have to get off to a good start early.
Was it designed to get him a chance to throw some shorter passes to get his confidence early on? That never materialized.
Yeah, we were trying to do that, but the Bengals were playing a lot of uptight man-for-man, bump-and-run defense, and what that allows you to do is maybe get some big plays, but under the conditions out here, it made it a little bit tough for us to get the ball downfield, and also we had some problems, like I said, with him throwing the ball as far as it slipping out of his hand.
You had a tremendous season. You got that $1 million+ bonus to keep you warm. Thanks a lot for being with us, Bob.
Todd, thanks for your work all day today from Cincinnati, and we shift over to Soldier Field in Chicago. We get a preview of the Bears and the Saints.